All right, this is the Code Breakers, Paradox.
And this is DC. What's going on? What's going on, man?
Not much.
Man, you know what, man? We probably should have went live like 2 or 3 hours ago while we was talking, just to kind of let that thing play it out. But maybe that conversation probably would. You think we could have said some of the stuff that we said offline, online? You think that would have went over well, or what? What do you think?
Not with this audience. Different audience then for sure.
Well, hopefully, man, we'll be able to share a little bit more in detail some of the stuff that we talk about. Definitely offline that we talk about online. So, what's going on, man? Let's jump into it. It's a whole lot going on, man. A lot of stuff going on. A lot of gnashing of teeth, and people still kind of going over the musings of the election and making their pronunciations about what took place and what happened, and everybody has an informed opinion about what took place and what happened and blah blah blah. So it's been very interesting to say the least. Very interesting.
Yeah, but then the whole world is going through some additional resets and changes as well. Coming off the election, so not only trying to sort out our own internal, you know, positions being moved around and new people taking over certain positions, but also the global impact as well. So that's at play.
Mhm. For sure. For sure. So what do you think about some of the stuff that's going on as far as like TYT, our favorite so-called leftist platform that's sort of kind of like going through their transition right now, whatever you want to call it.
Mhm. I think they're just moving with the times, chasing the views, honestly. And unfortunately, their staff, you know, who don't want to deal with it, they're jumping ship. But it won't stop. It's not going to stop anything from happening, though. Once you get your audience, unless you really mess it up, and if you look at TYT, they've changed over the last, 15, 16 years anyway.
Why was somebody call right in the middle of this? You said what now?
I was just saying, things change. As people sort of see where the clicks and views are going, you can start to see people kind of adjust to that. Not everybody, of course, but you know, when it happens, you're gonna notice it, right? And so it's TYT. Uh, for example, like Israel, and we live in 2022, 21, or whatever it is, 22, and Israel and Palestine go to war again, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a clickable, entertaining, not entertaining, but engaging event in the era of social media and people who have large platforms who engage into globalization things that's going on around the world, I should say. And when you see that when that took place, you may have some sort of morality with you, or you're tied to whatever you're tied to. And America as a nation or as an empire takes a position that you're going to disagree with, most likely, right? Especially if you're anti-war or whatever, right? And so people divided over that, and it changed and reshaped a lot of channels online and in the media. Because as Americans, and as mainstream American goes, obviously we support Israel and other countries who we decide to support, be it Ukraine or whatever, right? Ukraine is a more interesting one, to be honest with you. I think a lot of Americans have been brainwashed by Russia in my opinion. But anyway, neither here nor there right now. But people take sides on the Israel thing, and you make your decisions based off whatever you want to make it off of. And you may be living in America, living overseas, whatever, and you may decide to support Palestine, and there's consequences that come with that, and your channel and your environment changes, what you talk about changes, and how you talk about things change, and it exposes a lot of things too, right? So in mainstream media,
Mm-hmm.
we know what they're going to say and not say, obviously, right? But people who are on the internet pretend that they're free and they can say what they want and feel how they want and do whatever. And when real things like that happen in the world, not fake internet stuff that happens, you get to sort of see how it plays out when it starts to actually impact the real things. You know what I'm saying? And you can take something as simple as an Andrew Tate, where it's like, yeah, we gotta shut you down, bro. We let you fantasize and pretend long enough and make money and get excited, and then no more, right? And so if you want to support Palestine and whatever, same thing with 9/11. The Dixie Chicks and things like that on the social side of things, right? They made some comments, they got shut down, right? Everybody else learned their lessons. You had motherfuckers even saying, "I would give up my freedom for you to sign the Patriot Act and give us more surveillance." So I'm saying, like, things
Yeah.
change all the time, and people's morality gets tested, their positions get tested. And if you want money, if you want clicks, then hey, whatever, right? You're gonna move with the time. You're not gonna get trapped. You're not gonna trap yourself in some sort of what is it? How people once you take a hard position, right? You tend to lose things when you do that, and you're not flexible. And so I think TYT is. I just think they're very flexible in that he will move and they will adjust and justify their adjustments however they want to. And when they do those things, they've lost people exactly because of that. By the way, that's why what's the comedian name? The white boy, whatever his name is. That's why he jumped ship a long time ago, actually, because of this. I can't think of his name right now, but anyway, and so now and like you said, recently Mondale just left, and I think he was doing the damage report. I forget what he was doing, but whatever he was doing, he decided to leave because of that. Everybody else stayed though, but he saw it. You know what I'm saying? He saw it and had to bounce as an example.
Yeah, I mean,
But me and you've known about we saw this. I don't know, forever ago,
yeah.
10 years. Like it's nothing new to us really.
Yeah, had concerns about TYT. To me, I mean, yeah, their general messaging has changed, but I think the core of
They
what
go
they
with the rhythm,
represented.
bro.
Yeah, but the
They was
core of what they
pushing
represented
DEI. They was pushing
is
identity
the same.
politics for 4 years. Then once it
Yeah.
wasn't viable anymore, they went back to some other stuff. You know what I'm saying? They all over the place,
Mm.
bro.
But I think this is probably more so their belief system that they're falling into now, their convictions in it. Um, if you know what I mean.
I don't think they have conviction,
More
honestly.
so now
They're
than
trying to
it
maintain
is
a business.
then. Yeah, that too. Of course, that too. But I think this is where they feel more comfortable, in my opinion. I mean, I always that's the way I always look at them. I didn't ever look at them as so called. Like I said, I don't know what progressive means anymore because, like I said, progressive has a lot of different meanings to a lot of different people. People call the left a lot of things. Anything that is not voting in conjunction to Republican Party is considered to be left, but I don't know how accurate that is. I really don't know how accurate that is. Because, like I said, the you gotta kind of like really segment it out and say, okay, who or what are you talking about exactly? Because people are going to still consider TYT to be the left, right? Would you
Yeah,
say
they
that?
left. They're gonna
Yeah,
still be considered the left.
right. So,
They
but some
still
people
believe in they
call,
still they
but some
still
people
believe in a
call
lot of
them
progressive policies.
right. Some people say that they're not the left anymore because they are falling in their eyes, to MAGA.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? So that's that's what I mean by that. Like
Yeah, I mean
it's a
it's however they and
you
again
know,
it's like you said, and it's however they feel as well. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, Feeling has a lot to do with
Yeah.
it. Feeling
We
has a lot,
feel like,
just
yeah,
like
like, I
just
don't
like
care
the
what y'all say.
pull.
We're gonna keep doing what we're doing, and
Right,
here we're gonna flirt with the right a little bit. It happens. We've seen it happening. I mean,
right.
Joe Scarborough, which doesn't is probably not a good example, but Joe and Mika went down to go hang out in Mar-a-Lago. It's like it is what it is. And they got massive blowback by it, but
But
you
wouldn't
know,
they be more so people that's so called on the right that flirted with the left instead of them basically being on the left flirting with the right? So that wouldn't be. They just went back home or went back to what they originally were in the first place, right? Because Joe Scarborough has always been a
okay.
Republican. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think he switched over to Democrat. I think he's either independent or he's still Republican or Libertarian. One of those three.
He called himself an independent, but no, he didn't go back to anywhere. He he's a traditional conservative.
Right.
Yeah,
You see what I'm saying?
he's really a small C conservative actually, but
Hmm.
um
Small
he
government,
yeah he
limited taxes. Right. I got you.
yeah that's not what Trump and them are though. So
That's not what Trump and them are.
The MAGA Republicans have their own philosophy,
They
and
got their own philosophy.
It's integrated with conservative views and values, etc. And
Right.
white nationalist views, etc. On and on and on. But they're not traditional. So I don't know if he went home or not, but uh, yeah, I wouldn't argue with that. It would be more normal for him than being on the left, obviously. So I mean, I wouldn't. Yeah, that for sure.
That's all I'm saying. Like it's more the
But I'm
philosophies
talking
that he
about the
holds
persona.
is
I'm talking
more
about
in
more about the
conjunction with
persona, though.
what that would be
But
more so than the other side. That's all I mean.
yeah, and I'm talking more about the persona. So the persona of being on the left, being on MSNBC is what I'm talking about. You're talking more about where he's at personally speaking.
Yeah, because where you at
Like
personally
you're
speaking,
on
that's
MSNBC, you're on the left wing networks, and you're going to see MAGA. That's all I'm talking about. Everything else is deeper than that. I wasn't even going there with it. I'm just saying that he works for MSNBC. It's known to be a left wing propaganda machine. And him and Mika got on a plane and went to Mar-a-Lago. So that created the backlash. Because
it's
like
a
you said,
left
if people, huh?
it's a left wing. But see, this is why I say this because
Yeah,
okay,
it's a left wing propaganda machine.
let me just follow what I'm saying. I know you're gonna disagree, okay? Don't
I'm
regurgitate.
not disagreeing. I'm
But
just telling you what people believe it is, not anything
I
deeper than that.
I understand.
Yeah,
But
I'm not going meta with this stuff.
I'm I'm gonna go a little bit meta with it. Just a little bit. Just a tidbit. Would you say that Joe Scarborough is one of probably the most watched shows that's on MSNBC?
I mean, he's on for 4 hours, so I would assume so.
I'm saying he his show is the number one. I told you I did a deep dive on
Yeah, he's been on for four
MSNBC.
hours. I mean, he gotta be, he
All
gotta
right.
be, he
I,
gotta get a lot of
I,
ratings if you don't
I
for that
just
damn long.
okay, okay. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Small C, right? Small C. That shows you how weak of a propaganda machine on the left that MSNBC is. When the so-called person, which is sort of like what mainstream media is, like we can get into that discussion that we had, a little bit from yesterday about that too. Fox News is mainstream. They're not they're not a small media, when they talk about the media machine stuff like that, it's like beating it's in conjunction to beating up somebody that's not in your weight class. Seriously. I watch Fox the whole week and their propaganda media machine apparatus, the way that they function is at such a more healthy rate than what CNN puts out, than what MSNBC puts out. It's not even funny. It's not even close.
Well,
So
it's
I'm just
complicated,
saying
bro.
this.
You're
I
simply
I
you're distilling it down to
I'm
it's
not
not. It's
distilling it. I'm not distilling it down. I understand the complications of it all. I understand where the country is
we
at.
have to really have a 20-year conversation to make what
I
you're saying
I
make sense. By the way,
understand where the country
okay,
is at.
okay.
Okay. I'm just putting this in conjunction to WCW
I'm not
is
even worried
not
about the country.
WWF.
We need to talk about where
Okay.
where where the where the where the
W
where the where the three
no
media
matter
the three
no
media
matter
companies.
no matter the small spike that they had, WCW is not WWF. And I
Right.
get it.
But if
And
we
I
go
get
back
it.
in time when there
I
was
get
no
it.
Fox News, it was just CNN
I
and NBC
see.
and those things, right?
See,
Right? I'm
see,
just saying you got to put it
I,
in context. And
no,
you
but
started to say things
I
like,
just
well,
did see.
there's a
Okay,
reason why.
so let's go there then.
There's a reason
What I,
why. There's a reason why they hired
what
Joe.
I,
That's the reason why they had Joe
if
Scarborough
we go back,
on Scarborough Country, and had different dynamics. Because the CEOs, the people who ran the company, was doing things a certain kind of. Anyway, that's a whole. A lot of that stuff is corporate stuff. A lot of that stuff is business and corporate stuff. Not this.
but those
They're
networks were
chasing
not known
views
for
for
their
it. So,
shows. Hold on, Paradox. Those networks were not known for their shows. They were known for their news channels
but
primarily.
they was building MSNBC. It was
I
building it
I I get
from
it.
nothing.
I get it.
Right.
I get it. But I'm saying like what, and this is to the benefit of Fox, by the way. I'm not knocking the hustle. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying that when they talk about mainstream, they are the mainstream. They are the power apparatus. All the rest of those channels are powered by their shows and by sports networks. They're powered by Monday Night Football, ABC. They're powered by Fox, not Fox, but the CBS and all that. They're powered by their TV shows and stuff like that. Other apparatus. They're not powered by their news anymore.
Yeah, but entertainment,
Dan Rather,
entertainment,
Ted Koppel,
entertainment.
Walter Cronkite are no longer at those channels. Not even Brian Williams hold that kind of gravitas anymore.
Right.
You know what I'm
Reason why
saying? So
the reason why the
okay,
reason why they're saying that, it's a reason why they're saying that though. There's always been a perception in this country that the media, entertainment, and Hollywood and New York, who controls all the media stuff in LA, is liberal. That's all. The newspapers, etc. That's why it's always been a thing where we're sort of the underdogs. We're on the radio, Rush Limbaugh and shit like that. You understand? Like, I think a lot of it is like the idea that the media world, the universities that feed those media spaces, are all left leaning,
that was
and that
true.
we're fighting that we're on the right. We're fighting that for the last 50 years, however long it's been, and they have been winning, right?
That and
America as a whole, obviously, is going to be more liberal than it used to be, because obviously, women can read and go to school and learn and drive cars and get car loans. You know what I'm saying, right? Get their own place, get divorces. Like, the country obviously is something that it didn't used to be. So obviously they're going to feel like, well, it feels like, I wouldn't even say it is, by the way, but it feels like, or it looks like, or it comes off like the media has played a major role in reshaping America, and there's been left, and that the right is always fighting to get in there, to be a part of it, to be in the mix. Because a lot of people really don't necessarily, I don't necessarily think, even like the right views like that, because it's conservative views, right? So they've always felt like, I'm not even feeling like, that's really more of a fact, to be honest with you. Hollywood and New York does control the media apparatus, don't they, DC? Last time I checked. I mean,
yes,
how many Christian conservatives have you seen in Hollywood
yes,
in the
but they
last
do
50
not.
years?
But they do
6,
not dominate.
8.
They do not dominate the minds in America, though, bro. Not like the way you think they do. They do not. Not anymore. Not anymore, man. Well, you can, because what happens is,
I think America wants to.
but,
What's the phrase go? You want your cake and you want to eat it too. However, I think that's
yeah,
really what you're talking about.
but
Because
that's the
you're getting both as an American. You're getting both.
right.
You're
But
getting
I'm
what you
saying,
want, and you're
okay,
also getting some of those restrictions. No.
we're having entertainment is one thing, right? Entertainment is a segment of the news, but it's not primarily what the news is. The news apparatus is what I'm talking about. The way people get their news is primarily shifted. It has changed. When we used to watch Nightline, me and you, we grew up on Nightline, right? Nightline, 60 Minutes, that kind of stuff. As far as being the so-called offshore commentary. Um, when OJ came out with that situation with the truck, it was what was the show, the tabloid show, A Current Affair. Remember that? A Current Affair came out, and you had all these other people running kind of like these kind of video vlog posts where they were giving more opinions on the facts instead of the facts to kind of drive the story. So instead of the facts driving the story, and then you can have people talk about it and give their commentary, the commentary was first, and then they would just talk about what took place, and they'll give their version of what they perceive the facts to be, and they'll attack it from every angle, and it became biased in that kind of way. And what has become the model that has become sort of like this, what's the other one that used to be real popular in DC? Remember they used to have the conservatives and the liberals on there. The old dude, he used to be like, "Oh, shut up, you don't know what you're talking about." But they were all friends at
Yeah,
the end of the day. They were like, "Oh,
McLaughlin.
the
The
McLaughlin
McLaughlin.
report." The
Yeah.
McLaughlin report. You know, we grew up on that. The Tony Brown, all that. Tony
Watch it
Brown's
every
journal.
chance I
Yeah,
got. Yeah.
right. So what I'm saying is it wasn't very popular then. You know that. You had to really be into that kind of stuff to watch that kind of thing. But
Yeah,
once it,
there's no money in it.
all right, but there is now though. There is now
Until
though.
you started showing helicopter chasing cars and OJ. Boom, we off to the races, baby.
Right. So what
Off
I'm
to the
saying
races.
is
Got to get
what
them eyes. Got to get that attention. Yeah, for sure.
when it became more interactive, people could participate, people could make their comments, people can go on and try to kind of share their views about different things. You had alternative, what ended up becoming alternative media, which is what that was. You're right, it dominated. They still wanted to push they still could push it out up until I say maybe 2008, 2009. But now it's clear, like the Fox News and the way that they run their apparatus, bro, is superior to what MSNBC and CNN runs. The numbers say it, man. It's just the fact.
Yeah, they're in the pocket.
Who watch more news? What is on? Dude, I can go to Walter Reed. Me and you can go to Walter Reed. What would that channel be that's in the lobby in the military hospital of the nation? What would it be on? Paradox.
Fox. Not CNN.
And definitely gonna be on MSNBC, and you know that. Out of all the places that we go visit, and let me not. All the places that we have been. I'm just saying, like me and you in particular, right?
Mm-hmm.
We going to. I remember one time I had to ask. I had to literally ask. I think I asked one time. They said we don't. They said it's gonna be that, or it's just gonna be local news. We're not changing it to MSNBC. And this is like 2015, 2016.
Yeah.
No, you know what I'm talking about. It will be Fox.
But if you go back,
can I just give me 2 minutes and you could just I'll let you because I know you want to get into it. I'm not saying that liberal media doesn't exist. I think Fox, to a degree, is liberal. The basis of their news apparatus, the way they function in this. You wanted to say something? Go ahead. I know you jumping at the bit.
No. I was just saying.
Go ahead.
I was just saying we know the lyrics that they allow women to talk. So
I was waiting. I was gonna use that later because I was gonna go like if I was watching Fast Times at Richmond High and I put and you give me somebody that looks like Pamela Anderson, where are you gonna see her at? You're gonna see her on Fox, or you're gonna see her on MSNBC, or you're gonna see her on CNN.
Fox. Gotta have that candy out there.
Gotta have that beach blonde, blue eyes.
That candy, man.
Dude, I mean, come on, man. It's so. That's the liberal side of it. That's what I'm saying. They have tapped into what sells, what's the product, because think about it. If you think about Fox, if you think about Fox from from its inception, right, which came out around when we was like in our high school years, right? Martin, right? Married with Children. These are the shows. The Simpsons. You know, what's the other ones that used to the cartoons, Bob the Burger, all these kind of like, shifty, kind of weird, very funny, very quacky, on the fringe type of shows that they would show all the time there. The X-Files, all of this stuff, that was all on Fox. All on Fox. So yeah, this is, but that's what I'm saying. That's what drove them. But clearly, now what drives them is their news apparatus. Their news machine is the most powerful part of that actual apparatus. It is. But it was funded early on before the Fox News got off and took off, because it wasn't that. Before Fox News, there was just the Fox channel, which was basically that had all these shows, a lot of black shows too. It wasn't just Martin, it was Living Single. What's the other ones? We had Living Single,
A bunch of
Martin
stuff.
Lawrence. I mean, shit. Wasn't it Brothers from Another Planet? That shit was defunct real quick, but wasn't that on Fox? Was that UPN? Was that the WBE?
I don't
Whatever.
know.
but, with the Black Frog doing the jig. But I what my point is this, bro, is that the argument from saying that this big so-called media machine that's leading from the outside instead of being on the inside is a false narrative that Fox puts out. And I don't know how that can try to hold up under what they have been able to put out and what they have been able to do over the last 20 some years.
Well, you know what's
Dude,
going to happen though, right? Is
they
that
dominate
but you're making
MSNBC
a
and CNN both at the same time.
yeah,
It's not
but
like
you're
I
making
said,
a
it's not a comparison, bro.
but you're making
It's not a comparison.
you're making an argument in sort of I forget how they say it, like things are still moving. And so right now Fox News and some other conservative left right leaning things are up right now. But you know what happens next, right? Is that Disney and other Comcast and other major networks are going to spend the money. They're going to start buying up some of these smaller left wing podcasters and YouTube shows and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they will hit back. That's how this works. So you may have a moment in time. You may have a moment in time where, Fox is eating, which is right now. But okay. But media moves it moves all the time. And so 2-3 years from now, they can start to see a dip in ratings because left wing media made some moves, made some adjustments. Updated how they want to talk about things to lure in more people, younger people or whatever. That could happen overnight, man.
I would say that Hollywood hasn't changed. Hollywood is not the news. Hollywood is entertainment. So the movies, the glitz and the glamour of Hollywood, that's going to
It's all
always, I think
connected.
that's that. Yeah, but exactly. But I'm saying the news apparatus, it has shifted. That's what I'm saying. News has shifted.
It's just that the left, including this, including Hollywood, they made some decisions that turned
The
off a lot of
left,
people. So
but
I
the
don't think
left is weak.
I
The
don't think they're
left,
doing it.
the left
They
to you, the left
no,
to you, and people that think like you
the left
think
made
that
some
the left is
decisions.
weak, right? Hold on.
Bruh, I'm in the middle of the country. I'm around it all the time, right? I'm everything I listen to. They're all from those places. I'm watching it happen. I'm watching the left do things to lose the audience. I'm talking about people who watch TV. Remember, not most, but millions of Americans do not watch, engage in any of this stuff, right? So we're just talking about getting a hold of folks who engage, right?
Right.
For the last 10 years, like I told you, and I can't predict it. I couldn't have predicted it. But for the last 10 years, watching people complain about being canceled, I can go through a litany of things. I didn't know what was going to happen, right? I didn't know if anything was going to come from it or not. But somehow, America started to transition to watching more of those type of shows as more folks got canceled, as more folks got in trouble, and as the left introduced new words, new ideologies, new thought patterns. And people, a lot of people don't adjust to things quickly. They get scared or they get uninterested, and they go find other things to entertain them. And shows like Fox News was there with the doors open. A lot of the artists they have grown is from the left.
So let's okay.
But
So
that's nobody's fault. That's just making business moves,
I got you.
introducing things,
I
and
got you.
then once something gets noticed and gets called out, it could go either way. And so when you see in Hollywood, when you see them doing race swaps and gender swaps, and that becomes a thing, well, guess what? It's going to be a response to it. It could go either way. I don't know what America's going to do until they do it, and then I can talk about it after the fact, right? And so as the left, and academia, etc., as they were doing things, I'm watching the right bang on them since the 90s. They're banging on them, right? Banging. I mean, just non-stop. Banging on academia. Y'all are too liberal, too many liberal people there, too many liberal professors. We need more balance, more conservative, blah, 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 right? That shit took like 30 years to where we are now, to where they're hearing it. And they're saying, oh, shit, we got too many liberal. I can just go on. All the things the right say. Charlie Kirk, pick a person, whoever. All the things that they say, right? All the things that they say. When not what is his name? Nalapio, whatever that gay conservative dude is, he couldn't go to the university and talk.
Milo.
Ben Shapiro couldn't go to the university and talk. As all those events were happening, for whatever, and like I told you, I don't know until it happens. Apparently, all those things that were happening, including canceling all those men with those charges. From my boy Charles, what's his name? Had the show all the time. Older white guy, Charlie, whatever his name is. From him to Bill. Think about it, Bill O'Reilly. All of them got fired. Matt Lauer. These people had massive audiences. Rush Limbaugh died. Joe Rogan cranked up the podcast environment. Then people started looking for things to listen to in long form in that environment. All these events are happening as the left, who's in charge, by the way, of media, was losing it slowly. I can't make it up. I'm just telling you what I'm observing. You're trying to create some other shit.
No. I'm not creating anything.
I did not separate MSNBC.
You separate them. There's no separate.
I watched MSNBC fire. I watched them fire talent like the Young Turks. Like my boy Ed. Remember Ed? I forget Ed's last name. Redhead white dude. I remember them firing. They had great talent that they got rid of, and then they brought in whatever you want to call them, and then it was what it was.
You talking about MSNBC?
Yes, 2008, 2007. They had a great lineup back in the day. They brought in Chris Hayes and Nature Man and all this other shit. And you know what? Those people could have grown. They could have grown an audience, but they did. And by the way, all of those elite academic class, uppity left people on the coast, they refused. They were shitting on the internet because they're all in media. The left is all in the media, right? So the underworld is radio, is pop. I mean, at the time, right? A lot of that stuff was underground, and then all of the fringe stuff too. You know, Parler and all the French apps that popped up, blah blah blah. But as you kept canceling people, like you said, it could go either way. We just didn't know. I didn't think that people being able to go to Rumble and go to Kick and go to other apps and have voices, and that it was going to draw in young people and people of all ages. Actually, really, when you think about it, who knew that? No one could. I mean, I'm not saying no one could predict it, but I mean, it was happening. But
Fox has been dominating.
It was organic. It was organically happening.
I get what you're saying, bro. You're right. Okay, about most of that. But that still doesn't. I'm just
telling you what. I'm just giving you the news. This is what I'm seeing.
That's what I'm doing too. I'm not shifting it. My only shift was.
Bill O'Reilly had 15 million viewers in 2010. I mean, I know that. I mean, huge audience. I mean, Rush Limbaugh had like 25 million listeners on the radio.
What's the other guy? Mark Levine. They had radio contracts. They had radio contracts that were bigger than people that was on. That was bigger than people that was on TV. I mean, it was crazy.
Massive contracts.
So they ran. Would you consider radio to be part of it? Would you consider radio to be part of the news media? See, when I say media, I'm not talking about. Because like I said, there is an artsy, music, acting, Hollywood side
AM radio,
that's ran by a very select, small group of people, of elites. You know, whatever you want to call those people, those small group of people, or white people, by the way.
And they looked at Rupert Murdoch. They looked at Rupert Murdoch as being on the out, not on the in. Donald Trump on the out, not on the in. No matter how close they are to it, that's how they were framed.
Donald has always been in between both. Yeah, I don't think he was ever all the way out.
In New York City and Manhattan. So
well, that's something totally different. He's antagonistic from the city he's from. He's antagonistic from the city that he's from, but he gets
everybody don't get accepted at the high level up there, and they get a little honorary.
Paradox, come on, man.
I mean, it's high class problems.
Exactly. You know he's part of the elite, and you know why he has
that's not my point, though.
Well,
I'm not going to just go to the word elite, not knowing there's dynamics within the elite. system.
Exactly. But you're saying he's on the outs. There's
I'm
a
not gonna
reason
wash it.
for
I'm
that.
not gonna wash it away. I mean, like
I'm not washing
people
it
are
away.
individual people and they have individual families, and
There is
people
a
get pushed
reason.
out for different reasons. You know.
But there's a reason why he's on the outs inside of New York City.
Okay, so I got you. That's fine. Yeah, I'm just making a point about it.
But
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
saying, but
not gonna stick on the
that
point.
doesn't
I'm
stop
just saying that was a
that doesn't stop the
that
love
was
that
a.
he gets in other places though, and the way he's
I know
looked
that.
upon. So that's the
That
I'm saying. So he
wasn't a point. I'm talking about perception. So the thing is
okay.
that when people talk about people in wherever it may be it Rupert Murdoch or whoever, they talk about how within this group or in this class, this is how this person's looked at. This is how these people are looked at. This is why they're looked at this way, and this is why they're not a part of this, even though they're in the same level. They all go to the same places or whatever, but they're never truly accepted. I'm just talking about that type of stuff, and that's why things get framed the way they get framed. Can't make that up. I mean, Donald Trump is framed a certain way coming out of Manhattan. They write about him a certain kind of way. That he's not a part of certain things. That he wants to be a part of certain things. I can't make that shit up. They say he wants to be. They say that
he used to be.
Huh?
Hold on. He used to be part of certain things. He's no longer part of certain things because of what he actually used to do in those certain arenas that he actually frequented.
Well, you have to play along or yowl. Doesn't matter if you lead or not. That's all I'm saying.
Okay,
I'm not
all
saying
right,
anything.
cool.
I'm just saying that's just what it is.
But I'm saying we're on the same page. Then. But
if you become a Christian and you're in Hollywood, guess what? You can be a great actor, but you're out. You're not in. You're out.
You're saying it like almost like he's always been on the outs. No, that's not the case though. He didn't do things a certain way. He was a Democrat during this time period, right or wrong. Right or wrong.
Yeah, of course.
So what I'm saying is,
but being a Democrat doesn't really mean anyway. I mean,
on that level, it doesn't mean
a thing. The man gave money to everybody. It didn't really matter. It's just a title.
On that level, it doesn't mean anything. But we're talking about perceptions, though, right? So the perception is from the ground up. So how people perceive on the people that are basically above them, how they look at these people, right? Because
when you read about Donald Trump in the 90s and his family, they weren't looked at as being a part
negative.
of a group. They want to be
I
a
agree.
part of a
group. It was very negative. It was very negative. He was a failure. Not only that, he was a failure. It was an abject failure to people. People used to laugh about.
It is what it is.
People,
I'm
saying,
yeah.
People used to laugh at him.
I'm not making it up. That's just what it is.
I agree. But
you're trying to clean something up, nothing to clean up here. I don't care either way. Like I'm just saying this is what it is. I'm
saying like if we're online talking, right? So like things get lost in translation is what I'm saying. Like I think it's important because we're talking about a lot of different things.
Yeah, they got to keep up. If you can't keep up, just get off the channel, bro. I don't know. I can't do that.
Come on,
you got to keep up. Just get on with yourself, bro. I don't need that. I'm good.
All right, man. But I back to my point with the Fox News is what I'm saying. Like with Fox, I think that the reason that it's been effective.
Again, deplorables, people, Trump going to the right, MAGA, Tea Party, all this is tied to people, Rush Limbaugh. It's all tied to the folks who have always even felt like
I agree. That's the grievance side. I was just about to get to that.
Why do you think Trump was plug and play into MAGA? Because he's been looked at a certain way. Like a lot of Americans have been looked at a certain way. By the elite. Particularly the elites that lean left, or at least the perception of them being left. That's what I'm saying. I'm not making it. It's just what it is, man. It's like I'm not inventing the shit. Right? Am I crazy?
No. What I'm saying is, man, is that when you have a messenger that can deliver these things to people the same way as you basically illustrated, what I'm saying is that becomes a powerful engine for a group that is perceived as unheard. But the thing is that most people are listening. Most people are listening to this group because most people are not what? Most people are not part of the elite. Most people have grievances. Most people are not educated. Most people have angst against the government.
Right.
It is what it is. and it's not positive, it's very negative. So it's very easy to sell them on things that may not be necessarily true, but you feel a certain way, and with the way you feel is going to override what the reality is, because you had these grievances for so long, and if you play into it, it doesn't matter what anybody else says to you,
Nope.
because that becomes your reality. So what I was saying about my point initially was not even to go into the weeds like this. I said we want to keep it a little bit meta. You went all the way. You wanted to you wanted to go all the way deep, roundabout, all around the rosy. And I just I just wanted to keep it really on the surface and just say that Fox News and all the other conservative channels had done a great job of what I will call the Empire Strikes Back kind of motif. It's not about a lot of the stuff that people are deciding to try to, oh, we should have did this, should have did this, should have been that. I think it was already lost because the narrative, they couldn't win with the narratives. Anything that you would say to combat whatever narratives was coming out from the left lost. The economy stuff, no matter how untrue some of the things that they were saying, right? It was just real enough for people to believe whatever people were saying on the right. It didn't matter whether it was true or not. And they could counter every single thing that you would say. And it had just enough gravitas because it fed into what you just said. It fed into people's grievances. And that is more powerful than anything else. It doesn't matter whatever's coming from the so-called opposing, because the left is considered to be, like you said, now it went a bridge too far for people, but people always felt this way. The majority of folks, right? Even though they didn't say anything, they tolerated it, but they really didn't never really agree, right?
Nope.
It's just
Till
like gay
they
marriage.
die.
Do you think that most people, 75% people, even though they say they agree with
No.
gay marriage, do you think they
No.
support gay marriages?
Twenty
That's what
percent.
I'm saying. That's what I'm
15%.
saying. That's what I'm saying. But they say it because of what you just said, that the fear of being attacked by movies or by other
That's right.
kinds of media and entertainment that's going to shame you into believing that you shouldn't be doing this. That's the reason why they put it in movies and TVs, to try to normalize it, which is basically still a very kind of like segmented part of our population when it comes down to trans. Ain't that many trans people, but they make it seem like it's this overwhelming thing. So what they do, Fox does, they reverse engineer it. They make it into a way bigger thing than what it basically should have been. But that's because of what the media has already done, putting it in front of people. So if you're think about it. People don't really even really meet a trans person in most of the country, right? In most of the country, they don't really know one outside of movies or media, which is what goes back to the liberty of media, feeding people and force feeding them stuff that they may not agree or maybe feel uncomfortable with. And that has an adverse effect on how people view this country. And I get it, bro. Like I said, I there are some things that have always become very, very problematic that was on the left, that I would never support. That I would never support, bro. But I always kept the main thing, because to me, it's where the people are at and how to push forward. If that's what you want to do, if you're going to push politics, if that's what you're going to do, because what you suggest, I agree with that. I just don't think that you even said it. Do you think that what you suggest for black people, we know how to get into it, but what you suggest for black people, do you think that that's a possibility in our current mind state to do?
No. No. It's not.
And when you can get the grift from both the left and the right to basically use black avatars for their uses, you in for the foil. Black Republicans use black operatives. Black Democrat. I mean, I'm sorry, Democrats use black operatives on the left, and they have been able to weaponize it. And it's just it is what it is at this point. And I think, and what's so crazy about it, right? We can go into the next cycle, right? And the next president that wins could be a Democrat, that Democrat from Kentucky that I talk about all the time, Andy Bashir. He can win in a landslide, right? Or he could lose in a landslide, but he could win in a landslide against, say, JD Vance. And then all these other things going to come up still. It's going to be these questions. Oh, what is that? And it's just this back and forth. And I think this country just tilts. It's like a balancing beam. It's like a balancing beam. Once it sways too far
You know,
this way, it's going to
you know what I
sway
would have
way
thought.
back to the other side. So I think that's how it's going to be for a while
I thought
until we
I
get some kind of stability with politics.
well the left thinks. I
I just
think the
called I
issue.
just call this the Trump cycle, by the way, because Trump,
Yeah.
because he's neither Republican, neither Democrat, people that felt a certain kind of way about him can always vote for him and kind of still stay outside of the bubble of him being the so-called partition
Well, the
candidate.
thing is
You
that
know,
the if you look at the approval ratings of things like Congress for the last 20 years, has been horrible,
yeah,
and
30%.
so
Yeah,
and so and it's been lower than that in some spaces actually. I thought it was down to like 16% at some point. It was very low at some point.
that's crazy.
But I think all that's at play anyway. I mean, like you said, I always think it's strange when.
Which our Congress has been the closest that it's been in 80 years, by the way. People got to
Yeah,
understand that Congress is, if I'm not mistaken, is 214 to 217, something to that effect.
see, maybe
It's
close.
it's it's
I thought it was 215,
incredibly
216.
close.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredibly close.
Once it all shakes out, and I think if his nominees
Yeah,
get put
depending on
into
the
place,
nominees. Yeah,
it's gonna be one.
that's what
It's
it's
gonna be
it's
a
it's
difference of one
crazy.
in the House,
I mean,
if I'm not
this is
mistaken.
not where one party has dominated. That's not where we're looking at. And I think people need to understand that part.
Yeah,
Democratic people
the
still
domination is based off the new context they've created out of thin air. So now
which is which
if
is
you went
which is
out if you went out of swing state
right.
like Joe Biden did in 2020, you've dominated, and it should be blah blah blah. But
I,
that's all fun
that's one.
politics stuff, though.
But
That's
I'm
the
saying
fun
it's
politics
effective
stuff.
because people repeat it. They
Yeah, yeah, of
repeated
course, of course,
mandate.
of course.
They repeated mandate this week on Fox. It had to be at least 1,000 times.
Yeah,
Trump has a
yeah,
mandate. Trump has a
yeah,
mandate.
of
Trump has a
course.
mandate. But they
Which is
never
what they're
talked
supposed
about.
to do. They're
Hold
they're
on.
they're they're
Oh,
doing they're doing exactly what
see.
they're supposed to do.
All right, man.
They just are. I mean, what are we talking? What we arguing? I mean,
No,
something to
no,
argue about, right?
I,
They do what they're
I'm
supposed
not
to do.
talking about. I'm not
Okay.
talking about how ineffective
Don't
they are.
apply
I'm
no
talking
morality
about.
to the news
I'm
people.
not
They're doing their
applying.
job.
I'm
But what
talking
what you
about
what,
how
what you have to talk
effective they
about the
are.
ineffectiveness of the
Of the
left,
left.
and as
Exactly.
far as saying,
Exactly.
like, because I'm gonna tell you why I say that, right? I would tell you this.
Go off.
I would say this, right? I think about, even though I know George Bush and them had money and different things like that, and Mitt Romney. I mean, with and you look at what happened to Mitt Romney, you think about even that, but it's just weird because, I mean, talked about this before, where you have like you don't have a healthy disdain or dislike for wealthy people, but like at the same time you want them to be your leaders. So it's just weird. It's a weird thing. I'm still trying to. I just keep wrestling with all the time. Is you know you believe that there's something because they've accomplished something, so you have some level of connection to that, I guess, or whatever, and you think that they should be in charge, right? But at the same time, the qualifications to become president is very limited, right? Very simple for the most part, right? But at the same time, people feel like you have to be something on some level, uh, to be president. So I just find it just interesting that I wonder right now, could a regular person become president? And could he connect to regular people and poor people to get elected? I wonder how the way they have our minds. I find that in itself, by the way, just interesting to say the least. Because I would have never thought that. And I guess I would say never thought because it's happened in the past. But it's interesting that there is that the amount of wealth that people are voting for and don't have anything. I just find that interesting. Is that on the far left, the idea that us helping you out, and I don't want to say maybe demonizing rich people per se, but just that it was a good job. A good job's been done in our country to sell people on maybe individualism or you know getting rich or making money. But then when you look at the numbers, you realize that millions upon tens of millions of people don't have much to anything, and that there's people on the left who are saying, "We got y'all. We can help y'all out. We'll give y'all some things, etc." Um, and then it doesn't. Then it's just not connecting for some reason to win an election. I mean, you still got. I mean, the president still got 75 million votes or whatever, but 76 million. The Kamala got, but it's just interesting that that I would have thought that. I just surprised that it's not enough. You know what I'm saying? It's not enough in America to say like, look, these folks got a lot of money. They're doing all these things to get money and to maintain money, but I can't demonize them enough to make you not support. You could argue on some level against your answers if you want to look at it that way, right? It's surprising to me that you don't that doesn't eat as much as I thought it would eat. And I told you before, until I seen the insurance guy gets killed and watched a bunch of people online. I guess you could say people who are leaning left and right both was kind of like, look, we ain't got nothing. The insurance company, blocked my claims. I don't have anything, and who cares about corporations? But at the same time, you're supporting people. Many of us are supporting people who are corporate people, though, who support all those things. So it's just a weird thing that, like, if you have certain things in this country, it would make perfect sense to vote the way you vote. But all the people who don't vote that way, and it's like you don't have anything. You're never going to have anything, and you need these programs. Or you need X, Y, and Z. They could be good or bad. Maybe not the best in the world. You can make all kind of arguments about how great something is or not. But ultimately, if you've been getting support from the system, but you don't support the system, that's the part I find interesting, to say the least. And that you can't find. America is so temperamental that it's hard to find a person maybe to kind of connect all those things to satisfy. Because it'll be kind of I want to call it a small revolution, but it probably on some level would be maybe a little bit of a revolution if you can get someone that can convince enough people to say, hey, look, man, I know a lot of people have some have what they have, but most of us don't. And that let us put some things in place to make sure that you're taken care of, like Medicare for all, for example, right? And that that's not enough. That people are so, I don't know what you call it, I don't want to say ego, I guess pride maybe is the right word, that I can tap into your American pride somehow to keep you in your situation and make you think it's your fault.
Yep.
And I can use blaming others or using, in the past they would use black folks and use us as an excuse, obviously, but use different, what I'm saying, right? It's just very interesting, to be honest with you, because right now the disparity of wealth is so crazy, and there's so much money out there,
right.
And people are not being left behind, but in some level you could use that language, but just that. We have a modern society. If you want to compare us, say, to Europe, which I hate doing on some level, but you want to compare us to Europe and other so-called first world countries, the argument is strong, in my opinion, to say, hey, there's people who are going to need help. They're going to put their 30 years into a job or 40 years into a job or not work or have issues or whatever, or have an accident or have some issues or their family members get sick. I would have thought that would be enough, honestly, to say, yeah, forget these people. I don't care about no Donald. Isn't Donald Trump a billionaire? I don't care whatever he says. He says he's a rich person, and Elon and them are all wealthy people. That's great. They're successful. It's wonderful for America, etc. But at the same time, we need things collectively. We need us as a people need things collectively where we can help each other out. I figured you could sell that to people, but apparently not. Apparently, we're selfish enough that even though millions of Americans do want those programs, it's enough people on the other side who don't, who all share the same economics, by the way. It'd be different if, like, the 76 million people on the right were all upper middle class, and we just have a lot of wealth in our country because of our system, right? And then the other 75 million people are struggling, so they're fighting to get more benefits. And then the ones who don't participate just don't care about anything, just living their lives, right? Of course. the other 1/3. But it's just interesting that from a political position that there is no way, and some people argue because of DEI and other quote unquote distractions, the left kind of lost that position and it shifted to the right. That's what I'm even more surprised about, even that part, is that you guys decided to go to the right and not more to the left. Because
Right.
the left couldn't pull you further, which is what should have went. It's like, okay, the moderate Democrats
But
aren't
what
giving us what we want, so we're going to go more extreme and push ourselves more to the left to say, no,
what
you're
hangs
gonna hear us. But instead, we're going to connect ourselves to the MAGA weirdos and freaks from the Tea Party and shift ourselves to a crazy person like Trump. It's
what
just so
hangs
funny. It's
what
just
hangs
interesting, you know. It's interesting.
what hangs in the balance. So
It's interesting, man.
when they formulated a narrative around Kamala, right, that she could not shake, right? She was this leftist politician from California,
She wasn't gonna
pre
shake that. She should have leaned
you
into it though.
I
That's on
we
them.
we already talked about that. We
Yeah,
agree on that wholesale, right? But what I'm
yeah.
saying is that the reason but what they said that she shouldn't have, what she should have did, she did do. But it didn't
No,
matter because her
that's
identity
what
hold
that's
on.
her no her campaign people. Like I
I
told you before,
agree.
they ran the numbers and
I
what
agree.
their data said. They went off what the data said. The data don't
I
win elections though, right? But the data said what the data said, and they went off of just the data, not the feelings of what they think or didn't really vibe about this country.
right,
They went with
right.
the data. So
So
that's what they were
so
making. Supposedly, what they're making decisions off of.
so
Supposedly.
that's what I'm saying. So it's the invisible it's the invisible thing that ended up getting them at the end because the propaganda that was put upon her was identity based. So you're telling me this
But that was baked
person
in the cake.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But that's the most important part of it because of course this black Indian woman from California, which is she ran on
San
the most
Francisco.
liberal from San Francisco, Oakland in particular,
And they've already run
ran off.
and by the way, they've been running propaganda against California for how many years now already?
So
I mean, 10,
exactly,
20 years. I don't know how long.
exactly,
And it
exactly,
ramped up because of Gavin Newsom and him doing the lockdowns. Because remember
exactly.
something, Biden and her, just like Trump did, in my opinion, they both suffered. They just don't talk about it, but they suffer from the COVID stuff. The
Yeah,
lockdown stuff is still fresh. People aren't talking about it. Well, they are in the underworld, but they're not really talking about it in the main, which is a mistake probably on some level. That you're talking about hundreds of thousands of companies have closed. People had to leave California and New York. Like that stuff happened.
so
All those
that's
real things really happened. I think a lot of that just sweeping it under the rug may have been a mistake, not by her, but just maybe by Joe Biden and Democrats just in general coming out of COVID and not
right.
maybe selling it or like I know people suffer. We're so sorry, like something. I don't know what that would have needed to be. You know what I'm saying? When he first got into office, instead of just getting things done, which is what he did, right? Passed lots of policies, etc., but never maybe did enough of the consoling and recognition. And again, now we know why that is. Because I would argue why that is, and of course, because maybe some cover up, maybe it was a lab leak, which maybe that's kind of coming out right now. They believe it maybe so some things that they were saying that was kind of a contradiction. You don't want to investigate the COVID thing because both sides was fucking up, and you see what I'm saying. So you just take the loss, right? Because you don't want to talk about it, obviously, because they didn't do the investigation. Remember the 9/11 commission? Remember that?
Yep, I do.
Right. Remember the commission they
Absolutely.
did for the housing crisis?
Yes.
The
Housing bubble. Yeah, yeah.
the
Yes.
I'm trying to think of what they call those damn loans right now, off the top of my head. But
Um
you know what I'm talking about though back then.
yeah, we're watching the mutual and all
Those
those.
exotic
Yeah.
loans. I'm just calling it the exotic, whatever they used to call them. But they did a report on that, right? But then when the COVID
Mhm.
stuff came, both sides were like, look, yeah, we both did what we did. Yeah, let's let us just not mess with. We just take the L on those. Trump loses, he took the L. Biden loses, he took the L. It is what it is. Let's get on to the next election. You know what I'm saying? Let's not dig. Let's not scratch that open. Let's not
Mhm.
open that wound back up. But on the right, in the underworld, they're still talking about trying to go after Fauci and do this and do that. You know what I'm saying? So it's still sort of lingering around, by the way, in those worlds, of course, because
Uh,
people did move away. They did move to Florida, Texas, Tennessee. It
yeah.
was a shift in the country, and watching the government take over and force you to take a vaccine, to force you to close your companies down, especially small businesses who are already struggling because most companies fail. I mean, just generally speaking. So I mean, that amount of stress and pressure, even though you got a PPP loan or whatever, It just, you know what I'm saying? Then you tied it to the housing crisis, right? You tied it to 9/11. It's all kind of interconnected. You know, it puts people in some weird spaces, to be honest with you. And when you're trying to do certain kind of messaging, it may not resonate because they're worrying about other things that really haven't been resolved in their minds, maybe.
No, I agree. I agree. But did you want to you wanted to go over some of the videos, or you just wanted to just kind of like just wanted to do a quick mop up and then just
If you want to play a couple, we can try to run about maybe 30 more minutes. If you want to do a couple, I was gonna play. Let me play my person first. I'm gonna play your person. I'm gonna play your Mondale second.
Okay.
I just want you to see a little back and forth real quick. Nothing. Let's see. Let's say a little bit of this. Let me go here. They've been bickering the whole time on here, but I'm gonna see can I find a good spot. Let's see. I'm gonna try to skip through it. Let me share. See what your thoughts. See can I trigger you.
Counties flipped to Trump.
A member of Congress or a governor or a senator who thinks any investigation from any U.S. attorney wasn't politicized. Straight up. Matt Gaetz thought that the Trump Justice Department investigation into him was politicized and said so. Okay? Politicians always run to politicize justice when they're in the dock. All right? What President Trump said to the country is political popularity should immunize me from these charges. That was the question he laid before the country. The country gave an answer. You have to respect that answer, whether you agree with it or not. He said, I will put this in the forum of politics. I will delay everything judicially, as is my right under due process. Delay is a tactic. It is a long-running tactic of Donald Trump. Everyone who brought these cases should have known that delay and then a political appeal would be the playbook. That's exactly what happened, and he got the verdict politically that has immunized him now legally.
Kevin McCarthy, we're going to say something.
55 counties flipped to Trump. Some have not ever voted for a Republican. Lake County, California hasn't voted for a Republican since 1984, if you want to remember that. So no, it wasn't close. This was an amazing vote where it took place. When you look 2 years ago, Democrats should have looked 4 years ago. When Joe Biden won, he only won by 48,918 votes. And for the first time since 1994, not one Republican incumbent lost in the House. Everybody thought they beat 15 Republicans. We beat 15 Democrats. So it was 4 years ago you knew you had this problem. In the last election, you had abortion to the Supreme Court, nothing to do with Joe Biden, and you had a redistricting, which made fewer competitive seats. So it wasn't something that Joe Biden did to make some election. And you lost the House. So I don't know when you lose a House as somehow you were successful in an election. To Merrick Garland, you're saying he did something he didn't go after. No, had the whistleblowers from the IRS not come forward to the Ways and Means Committee, Hunter Biden would not have gone forward to be prosecuted because he was getting a plea deal. He was getting waved away the last 5 years. They didn't go forward. So Merrick Garland got pushed because whistleblowers came forward, not because he was some holy man as an attorney general. And the last thing I would say, when you look at this election going forward, she was always going to lose. If you look at the pardon, the way he wrote it, if you look at running for re-election, I was on the other stage a year ago. And I talked about why Joe Biden should not run by mental capacity of personal experiences I had. The vice president came on a few people after me and criticized what I said and said his age had no determination of going forward. These decisions of the pardon and running again were all decisions made with this president, with his family. And every time he's sitting with his family, he's made the wrong decision. And nobody on this table would have thought that he wasn't going to pardon him. So we thought he was lying to us the entire time. And I knew they were lying to us about his mental capacity every time I met with him.
Look, it's extraordinary that you had
John Carl.
You had a situation where 70% of the country was saying they didn't want a Trump-Biden rematch, where the majority of Democrats were saying they didn't want Joe Biden to run again. And nobody really stepped forward. Now, in terms of the promise to turn over to the next generation, be a bridge to the next generation, which he said once in Michigan after the primary in 2020, with Kamala Harris on the stage, with Gretchen Whitmer on the stage, and with other potential, people seeing as the bridge to me. I know, and I'm sure other reporters here have heard that some of those took it as a promise. They thought Biden was really going to do one term and out, regardless of whether he's and he did. To be fair, he was asked in the election whether or not he would commit to serving only one term, and he did, and he said no. Yeah. But look, Biden took specific steps to ensure that it was going to be extremely difficult for anybody to challenge him. He changed the primary calendar.
Yeah. Yep.
He took some of his, potential rivals and put them on his campaign committee. This is the stuff that any incumbent president preparing for re-election to do. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And then made it clear that there were going to be no debates. And, there were going to be no debates. So they were shut off. But ultimately, it's on those future leaders of the Democratic Party. And the bench was deeper than it had been for a long time. Not to ultimately step in and say, I'm going to take him on. Nobody stepped forward to take him on. And that's the question the Democrats have to ask. But it's not whether or not Biden should have dropped out first, but why nobody other than Bobby Kennedy, Marianne Williamson,
Dean Phillips,
none of these major figures, the governors, came forward and said, I'm going to take on Joe Biden.
But there was something else going on at the time. There were articles where Democrats were saying, please dump Kamala Harris from the ticket, change your vice president. That's a parlor game that's played every time there's an incumbent president who's eligible to run for a second term. But let's all be honest. And Van Jones and I talked about this at Milken Institute in early May. Let's be honest. Part of the reason that President Biden could not step aside is people didn't have confidence in the competence of Kamala Harris. And then all of a sudden we're supposed to believe that she has worked hard. She does speak well. The American people saw it differently. And I'm relieved to hear that very few lessons, it sounds like, have been learned by my Democratic colleagues.
Oh, wait, I'll get my turn. Oh, wait.
I hear yours, but let me just say this. Maggie, I think that this election was also about moments that Donald Trump has this sense of the culture. He just gloms onto a cultural zeitgeist and leads it. So I think him, rather than banning TikTok like Joe Biden did and Kamala Harris did, by extension, he got on it. And Forbes magazine wrote an article maybe 2 weeks ago, tops, saying of the 10 top TikToks of 2024, 8 came from the Trump campaign, 5 in the last week alone. So he's in the garbage truck. He's at McDonald's. You're watching Joe Rogan live, but then other people are watching it through TikTok. He goes to East Palestine before any official in the Biden-Harris administration, before the Secretary of Transportation, before the sitting senior senator, now the ex-senator of Ohio, Sherrod Brown. And he's honoring the police officer who's slain in Massapequa, New York on Long Island, while Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, and Joe Biden are all at Radio City Music Hall at a fundraiser. He beats Kamala Harris to Georgia and North Carolina, where people are in pain, where everything that they've had and loved ones have been washed away literally, and Kamala Harris in San Francisco at a fundraiser. So people see this. They know what they see. They know what they hear. And I think the big distinction in this last election, two I'll say quickly. One was the Democrats would have won if they got away with convincing Americans to believe what the Democrats told them was real and true and authentic, rather than what they saw with their own eyes and heard with their own ears, what was real and true and authentic. Everything from a sitting president's obvious mental and physical lack of acuity, agility, ability, but even the vice president, whose official schedule that they stopped publishing a while ago had little to nothing on it most weekends and then most days. So you can't just, you can't create a candidate out of somebody who is going to eat and own all of these things. The second thing I want to say is very quickly, I listened for 26 minutes, very quickly is that putting Harris on the ticket, I think also sealed Biden's fate, and him thinking that he was FDR, hanging out with John Meacham. And instead of realizing you're here to be the post-COVID caretaker, you're here after George Floyd's murder. The idea that he was going to govern as Bernie Sanders, who had already been pushed out of the party as somebody who beat Hillary Clinton, folks, in 23 contests. That's a real primary opponent. And this is the election where Americans are saying, no more. You are not going to pigeonhole and narrowcast me and tell me what to think, for whom to vote, and how to feel based on my age, my gender, my race, my sexual orientation, my religion, my political party registration, my past voting behavior. And whether it's Ann Seltzer's phony poll or phony focus groups of junk saying that Kamala Harris is going to win, attacking people like Kevin McCarthy. Thank you so much for having the courage in 2022, you and President Trump, and the RNC, to have run these candidates in California and New York, because without that, we would not have had the majority in the House of Representatives. You had the courage to go into blue states and go into purple districts and do that. I think they misread the mandate, Maggie, in 2022 of the midterm. A lot of those terrible candidates fell short. They should have. They weren't great candidates. But the Republicans won 3 million more of the popular vote than the Democrats. They misread a mandate for Joe Biden, who wasn't even invited on the campaign trail. They sent out Barack Obama, not Joe Biden, to campaign for candidates. So you've got to, we have to level set with the public and stop pretending that these counties didn't flip. And last point, every state.
How many last points you got to do?
Can you pause it real quick? Can you pause it?
I'm not here spinning. They're really great points, and I'm not here spinning and pretending that.
I
But
can't.
the good part's about to happen though.
I know. I just couldn't. I had to just say this because, what's interesting is because every time that this happens, and like I said, they do a good job of really kind of they misappropriate the facts, right? So they're saying stuff, but what are they not saying? Okay, yeah, he won by 3 million votes, but what they're saying is that there was like Biden got 81, if I'm not mistaken, 81 million. Is it 81 million last time?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Which means that pertaining to the electorate, it went back to normal, but she did not, for whatever reason, those people didn't come out and vote. The couch won to a degree, like it always does, but that particular group did not feel the need to vote this particular time. Regardless, the numbers went down significantly. So that's part of the equation. Not to say that she still probably would have won or she still would have probably lost, whatever the case may be. I can't make a determination on that, because just because somebody voted for Biden, clearly, the last cycle don't mean that they would have voted for him this cycle. So there's clear discussion about that. Doesn't mean that those voters would have swapped out, but it's not all the way accurate saying that the American people clearly, made that determination the same, and this is like a clear mandate. You see I'm saying how they kind of like swing the facts to kind of move their way, and it's like I said, it's effective. No, I agree. I agree.
Nothing to clean up. I mean, she says what she's going to say.
It's effective, is what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. It's effective.
Yeah.
So
when
now
you win,
go
when you
ahead.
win, you get to do what you want to do. That's the whole point of winning.
Right.
You can do your victory laps. Don't matter. It doesn't matter. I run this. I create the reality now.
That this election, a lot of this conversation, respectfully,
created
sounds like the election didn't happen.
They created a narrative.
He's talked about the same stuff over and over again. The fact is this: I said it a year ago. I'll say it again because it was just raised. The Democratic Party right now, every day they wake up, it's still January 6, 2021 on the calendar. They get an electric vehicle. They get an abortion. You're out of touch with the public. This election was a rejection of wokeness, and people, every state went more red except Nebraska and Washington State. That is a sweep. That is a mandate. That is President Trump coming into office and the American people saying, please make my life safer, more secure, more affordable. Please get us out of these foreign engagements. And I think the always wrong, never Trumpers who had unlimited money cost the Democratic Party, which they say they're not even a member, another presidential election.
Van, hang on one second. I'm going to let Sarah Long respond.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you for pointing out that I do a lot of focus groups. I do, and they didn't say
we all do. We just
they didn't say Kamala Harris was going to win. So.
By the way, I'm only playing this because I know that you don't like Sarah. So I figured you'd be more on Kellyanne Conway's side here, by the way. Because you heard what she just said, right? Y'all aren't Democrat. Remember we discussed that?
Yeah, I know.
That y'all aren't Democrat. What are y'all doing? And then she just blamed them for the election.
Yeah.
I love it.
Right.
I love it.
So
Say Trump, Trump, Trump.
Okay.
no,
You have stage
they-
5 Trump derangement syndrome.
We're,
Yes,
we're on
I
a
get it.
podcast.
Sure,
now.
sure,
There's
sure.
no
No one is
vaccination.
figuring
Yeah,
out
that's
who-
right. I
who
think
was
you
talking.
guys. I think you guys
guys
are
are- you guys,
bad
the
people who
country?
are bad. Yes, are
Yeah.
bad for the
Okay.
country. Yes, that's
Yeah,
right.
who's you
Who
guys?
attack the
Who's you guys?
Constitution?
Stop.
You, Donald
Please.
Trump.
Stop.
Yeah, people.
Stop.
Yes,
No,
that's right.
this is what they do.
So here's the
She shouldn't
thing:
be
the
invited because she's gonna
voters.
Just
sound
let her,
like
Kellyanne, let her.
No, I'm
her.
gonna, yeah,
Let her
I'm
talk.
gonna, because the thing is I actually agree with a number of the
Finish a
things
sentence.
Kellyanne said about about the actual voters, which is that. And here's the thing: most of the independent voters, they were double haters, right? They don't love Donald Trump. That they most of them hate Donald Trump actually, but they also, and this is an indictment of the Democrats. Okay, Joe Biden should not have run. He was too old, and every voter said it. It was in all of the data that Joe Biden should not be the nominee. He should have been a one-term president who was a bridge and let the party have a primary. That is the only thing that you can retcon at this moment and go back and say what would have been different. Kamala Harris coming in with 100 days left wasn't going to do the trick. And I think that she so exceeded expectations, though, in terms of where the low expectations for her were. She increased her favorables, and that allowed Democrats to sort of go back to something Kevin McCarthy was saying. They were able to make it extremely close in the House. The Republicans are still losing House seats right now. It's going to be like a 3-seat majority. They held on to a lot of places in the Senate where Democratic senators overperformed Kamala Harris. And so Donald Trump didn't have the.
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, Kevin just went up there and just straight up just capped all the way. He really did. He capped big time. I was just like, so what is he talking about? Like, is he adding up all of the so-called cycles and saying that those particular seats that he won, but he's not adding the ones that the Republicans lost? Like in New York and but what I'm saying is he made it seem like they're plus 13. If you listen to him, the House was already Republican. They gained seats. Am I missing something, Paradox?
No, they're getting. I mean, they are getting a little nerdy. They get into some of the details of some of the
I know, but
stuff all over the country.
that's what I'm saying. So he's talking about districts he's talking about districts where they voted Democrat before, and he gained 13 of those.
But see, the thing is that Sarah, what she's trying to explain to them, and of course, their job is to spin it, obviously, right?
I get it, but when you say that,
what you're trying to explain is what you're going to take advantage of is that because of what the Democrats and Joe Biden them had did in those 4 years, really the last probably year, it's going to cause folks, for whatever reason, to obviously shift to the right. So it makes it look a certain way. And they're taking advantage of that, right? 48 states move to the right. A bunch of counties in blue states move to the right. You're going to take advantage of that talking point, obviously, right? But we know that we don't know if that's real or not until the next cycle. Then you kind of know, is that really solidified, or was it because you had a president that nobody wanted in office to run a second term? And it's really just a rejection of that more than anything. You gave us a new candidate at the end of basically the end of the election. You know what I'm saying? You gave us this candidate, but this is a Joe Biden presidency, and we're all rejecting it because you know what I'm saying? And the Democrats strategically made a mistake, and that's what happened. That's why everyone shifted to the right, and he got those votes, and it moved in those places. Plus, Donald Trump campaigned as well, and the Republicans campaigned on top of that. And boom, you get what you get. But once you win, your job is to do what? You're gonna spin that into like we've been saying, right? Mandates, and we blew everybody out. And we took over. That's what you're supposed to do, though. It's pretty funny, actually. And Sarah's trying to be more technical, even though she's also against it. So she's not gonna get no space up anyway, right?
Same coattails. But what was happening? Is it because there's some great, thing about Donald Trump, or were people so angry about inflation, so angry about a lot of COVID? There's still a lot of COVID hanger. They were so angry about immigration. Democrats have no answer, no plan on immigration, and voters really care about it. And so, I think that, and when I say, there's a lot about what voters think that comes from the fact that people lie to them. right? They were lied to about the 2020 election being stolen. It's interesting to hear Kevin talk about 2020 right now and essentially in the frame that Joe Biden won, because that is not a given in the Republican Party. They lie to people all the time. Donald Trump is a professional liar, and as a result, but they are better at working the media channels. Democrats
are stupid. You're sitting here saying the American people are stupid.
No, I'm saying you guys are better at
I don't know
talking.
who
I'm
you
saying
guys is.
sorry,
Football
the
team?
Trump campaign. Trump went everywhere.
Ridiculous.
JD Vance
Respectfully.
went everywhere. Right? They went on every podcast. They talked to every
Just
person.
pause
And
it, by the
Joe
way. I
Biden
really-
and Kamala
I really
Harris
want people to
did
understand.
it.
But
Just pause
isn't
it.
that a different point,
Calling
Sarah? I
people
mean,
liars.
The reason why this frustrates me so much, right? Van Jones is the only black acolyte up there. Is that the only black person that's there? Right?
Yeah.
That
yeah.
represents the black left. Okay, the reason why this frustrates me so much is that they'll have Sarah up there like she is part of the left, but she's technically, that's inside baseball. These two just don't get along. They have different philosophies, but they're part of the same team. That's what I mean. Like, even philosophy wise, they have more in common with each other than they don't have in common. When she talks about the Democrats, she doesn't talk about them like she's part of them or anything, or she voted for. Like, I don't even know if the woman voted for Kamala. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, this gets to that kind of level of
As
debauchery.
much money as they spend, I hope so. But you don't know.
Dude, come on, man. You think anybody we talked about it, right? Even before the election, we talked about this, the duplicity of this. Do you think, and see, they don't talk about stuff that's going to get them all worked up when it comes down to the so-called identity racial thing. That's not going to come up. This is just this kind of nubilous kind of conversation when this doesn't, that automatic driver was driving people to do certain things, because Kelly knows what that is at the end of the day. She feels it. She knows it. And she's looking at her like, why you
Sarah and the Lincoln Project, they're just trying to be Trump, bro. So
I
believe they all voted for
know.
Kamala. They wanted they wanted him out of there. They spent billions of dollars. They're not taking it as a joke. It's not a joke to them. They're dead. They're dead serious. Dedicated, actually.
I would have to look.
It's just that they're going to do it. It's just that they're going to do it their way. They're not going to do it the progressive way. That's the difference.
But don't.
Because at the end of the day, she's a Republican. Period. I mean, we already know that.
Exactly.
That's a given, though.
But no,
that's
it's
a given.
Not a given. Paradox.
Not a given to who?
A given, dude. It's not a given.
Who are you talking about?
It's not a given to people that they're talking to. It's not a given to these people.
People
they
got to figure it out. That's their
left
fault.
and right
No.
People look at this as a left and right conversation.
I can't think for nobody, bro. It is. What am I going to do with that? What do you want me to do with that information?
You can't take people's ignorance for granted, bro. You cannot take people's ignorance for granted.
Dude,
I'm not meaning it in a bad way. I mean,
people voted
just
for a
don't
billionaire,
know.
bro. What are we talking about right now, DC? Well, I don't care.
They don't know. They don't know, bro.
Millions of people just voted for a billionaire with a silver bullet in his mouth for Manhattan. So I don't have the time to be thinking and helping. I can't explain anything.
Paradox.
Figure it out. I can't do it.
They called it a populist movement, and who was he supported by? Who was he supported by the most? Who was he supported by the most? Who was the man? Who was the exactly? And who was Elon Musk again?
A foreign billionaire.
I'm saying he's the richest man in the world, right? He's Richie Rich.
He's rich.
Right. Okay. All right. Go ahead, play, man.
But that's my whole point, is that I don't really care that people don't know who she is. It doesn't really matter to me. Half this country voted for Donald Trump. So what am I explaining what to who, DC? What am I going to do against TikTok, Instagram, social media, Donald Trump, and the DNC and RNC apparatus, and the media propaganda machine out of Hollywood that runs global propaganda? What am I going to do?
I think it's important. Yeah,
why am I wasting my energy dealing with it when what am I going to do? What am I going to do?
It's just an acknowledgement. We're doing observing, right?
Yeah.
It's an acknowledgement that these are two Republicans that are sitting up here having a fist fight.
If you don't know they're Republicans, what am I supposed to do with that, DC?
I'm just saying, bro.
Who am I explaining that to again?
I'm just saying, bro. People will look at this and say this is a left against the right conversation. Look at Kellyanne Wade go up against this leftist so-called Sarah.
Anybody who's in politics know who these people are, though, bro. I don't know what to say about that.
I agree with that, but I'm just saying that it's
if you don't know that, again, get off the channel there. I mean, if you don't know that, bro, come on, bro. What are we talking about right now?
All right, go ahead. Play it.
There is a point.
I got called on 15 minutes ago. I'm just saying.
Yeah, Van, hang on just one second. I just want to
They
address that
running
though,
over
because I do
Van
want John
Jones,
Carl
by
to
the way.
speak
I
to
want
this, and
everybody
Major
to know
and
that, by
Margaret
the way.
after
Personal.
Dan talks, but we're getting a little behind here. The issue of the media approach is actually a really important one.
Yeah.
The issue of the issues, immigration and coronavirus, which we haven't even discussed yet, and I want to get to. But Van, please make your point.
Okay, so look, guys, a lot of the stuff we're doing is the same stuff we do all the time. We got a chance to talk real here. I want to talk real. You guys shouldn't be as happy as you are because 2016 people voted for change because they were fed up and sick of it and gave Trump a chance. 2020 people voted for change because they were sick of Trump. 2024 they voted for change. They're probably going to vote for change a bunch more times because something is off, man. There's something really going wrong for real everyday working folks in this country. And I'm not sure either party has an answer yet. We know how to beat each other up when the other one's in power, but can we solve any of these problems? My perspective doesn't come from the focus groups. It doesn't come from sitting on CNN next to my beloved Anderson Cooper. I was on the ground supporting folks in Philadelphia, trying to get folks to vote. I was trying to help Jewish voters get to the polls in the Philly suburbs. And I'm telling you, we are way off. The entire political class is way off. First of all, digital is a new door knocking. You got to understand that. We were laughing our butts off at Donald Trump for suspending his door knocking campaign and letting Charlie Kirk and Elon do a bunch of stuff online. We said, these guys are idiots. These guys are stupid. Then you start knocking on these doors. You know what people come to the door with? Their phone in their hand. They're in a 24-hour digital surround sound that has nothing to do with CNN, has nothing to do with any stuff that we do. I asked my son, I got a teenage son, I asked him, who are the most influential people in the world today? I'm thinking to myself, he's going to say Barack Obama, Oprah Winfrey, Jay-Z. He says, Kai Cent, Aiden Ross, Jinxie, and Sketch. I don't know who he's talking about. I said, what platforms are you on? He goes, I'm on Twitch, Kick, and Rumble. I said, that sounds like you need to go to the hospital. What are these platforms? I'm telling you guys, the mainstream has become fringe, and the fringe has become mainstream. There are platforms, there are people out there that are getting 14 million streams, and we're on cable news getting 1 or 2 million. And so there is a whole world out there. Kellyanne Conway, I hate to agree with her, but I do a lot of times. Donald Trump understood that and we didn't. And it's not just Democrats that don't. The entire political class is way off, way off, way off. And I'm going to tell you something else. Men are hurting, man. Men are hurting. And the feminist culture tells you, don't cry because you're the problem anyway. And the masculinist culture tells you, don't cry because boys don't cry. So you just aren't able to talk about how scared you are you can't provide for anybody. You can't talk about how scared you are that you don't understand your kids and what's going to happen to them. You can't talk about anything. So at least Donald Trump lets you have an emotion besides shame. And so, guys, we can sit up here all day long and do this talking point gumbo stuff that we do. But I'm telling you right now, you guys are going to be in trouble next. Because until somebody fixes these problems for real people, there is a rebellion in this country. And anybody who comes out and sounds like they aren't pulling their talking points out of Cracker Jack box will get a hearing, whether they're right, wrong, or otherwise.
All right, hang on one sec. Margaret Hoover, to Van's point about the media, mainstream media becoming fringe, which I'm not sure I quite agree with. But
you can't. Actually, given our surroundings,
right,
that's
but it is certainly true that the mainstream media does not have the impact it once was. What do you, John Major, see as the future for what reporting looks like as we go forward into the next Trump administration? And what is the approach that the mainstream media should take, considering controversies of the last term?
The underpinning and the foundation of a representative democracy, it relies on a free press. It relies on transparency. It relies on people observing what is happening amongst those who hold power and then reporting it. And not just reporting it. I mean, reporting, we don't have to think of in the traditional sense, but look, video cameras are everywhere now. We don't have to wonder whether, somebody was held down for however many seconds. We have a video of it. I think being able to see transparently on camera what is happening is part of the story. So I do think digital isn't not just the new door knocking. Digital is the new media. I mean, digital is how we hold those in power to account. And people who are in the digital space, who are capturing the moments where people who hold power, which is the trust of the public, that is how we hold people account. And then, so this is, yeah, and the New York, by the way, we're all doing this because this is not being broadcast on cable news. This is not being broadcast on television. This is being broadcast by digital. And so we're all moving there, even if we're a beat behind. But transparency is, reporting and telling the truth and transparency is how we hold those in a power to account.
Alexis Michael-Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, look, as an organization that reaches millions of people every single day to have conversations around bodily autonomy, we are all on digital, right? So the idea that the Harris campaign was not on digital, that the IEs like Future Forward were not on digital and spending millions of dollars to reach those folks.
The issue, right? The main issue, and this is just between both parties, and we talked about the reason why Donald Trump was unique and how he tapped into the grievance part, which aligns with people that don't have money and stuff like that. He's unique in that essence. And then the thing is that he's still fairly unpopular with half of the population because of the stuff that he does and the shenanigans that he holds. But his ability to blend in with the angst of people that feel shunned politically, right? What Van Jones is talking about, neither one of these people are going to correct. These people that's up there from the left and the right, their money, they're millionaires. These are millionaire people talking about problems. They're not going to take money out of politics. That's why I don't understand what Bernie Sanders said. Like, Bernie, like, you from Vermont. Like, you have to understand that the agreement that was made with people, it's not grassroots. If you can't run a campaign without funding being such a integral part of it and big money, it's going to ring hollow at the end of the day. Like I said, this man was able to grieve and have a grievance being a billionaire and having the richest man of the world ride shotgun with him. Think about that for a second, Paradox. And he's the one that has the actual pulse of the people. He's the one that cares about poor folk. Because the thing is, the reason why Donald Trump cares, or that you think he cares, is because people think that he's being chased down by DOJ, right? Which a lot of people feel law enforcement is crooked. They don't believe in none of these court cases that people bring up, stuff like that. Well, hell, if they bring up against him, then hell, it must be something going on. Hell, they're trying to lock him up, just like they try to lock up all kinds of black men. That's a grievance that captures black men at the fringes, that captures all these other people at the fringes. And you have people that basically were dealing with deportation that could vote. You know who these people end up voting for? They end up voting for this man. Again, the grievance. That's what I mean by the propaganda machine. So when I see Kelly and Kevin and all these people up there talking about this stuff, even Sarah to a degree, oh, Democrats did the bad messaging. It wasn't the messaging that did this. That's my point. So Harris, there was no way out of it because she was looked upon as being the establishment, which means, okay, Paradox. Do Harris have the same kind of reach and money that Trump and Elon Musk has? I'm asking a question, not a rhetorical.
No.
Tim Walsh. We're talking about Tim Walsh and Kamala. Right. It's not. Say what?
They're famous and popular, so they don't even need the money.
Exactly. They don't even need the money. That's what's so crazy. They got the. You have an avatar.
They got clout.
You have an avatar through Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan was instrumental in the so-called internet spaces. What he do? What 15 million a show? 15 million,
30.
right? He dropped 30. PBD, media apparatus, propaganda wing, reasonable.
several million.
has a bootstrap story, all the stuff, immigrant, all this kind of thing. And what I'm saying is that this is what I'm saying, because they had a fixation of feeling left out, or feeling that they couldn't reach certain things, and that it was all Democrats' fault for this. That they've been able to sell that. That's what I mean. That is the beauty of the propaganda wing of the right. You know, what's down is up, and what's up is down. Like they've been able to sell that to poor people to vote for them. When you dealing with the so-called class, you're dealing with
Poor people help make them what they are, though.
That's facts.
Especially in the underground world, all those
That's
things that have
facts.
bubbled up to the top yeah, I mean,
that's facts. So go ahead. You can
it's very organic in a lot of ways, by the way.
Yeah,
Then
you can go ahead and play it there.
then you layer the propaganda on top of it, and it's powerful at that point, boy.
Are we
Folks to hire
getting to the
influencers,
fireworks?
bring
or
them to the-
We're not there yet.
No, I might have to jump ahead to find it again, because that was just one hit, and then I think they hit one more time.
So we saw the one between Sarah and Kelly is one you were talking about, right?
That's all I wanted to show anyway.
Okay.
I think they may talk one more time.
Clear, going back to household names.
Has to be a reckoning with the way that we've seen the leaks and the classified information, all the nonsense has gone on behind the scenes. That has to be fixed, because Americans need to have confidence in this legal system and with the justice system.
It would be so bad if people were keeping
Sarah
classified
Longo.
information like in a bathroom. That wouldn't be good, right?
I feel like it's 2022.
Kellyanne Conway, same question to you about Kash Patel. Do you anticipate that he will follow through with what he had said he would do last year, or do you see it as Jason sees it, which is that
I
this
see
is
it as
just going to
Jason
be-
sees it and as President Trump sees it. Kash Patel is qualified for that job. I hope he gets confirmed. And it's very clear, going back to household names, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, Bruce Orr, Nellie Orr, people don't have confidence in the seventh floor of the Justice Department. They saw how politicized our FBI became. That is nothing against the 35,000 rank and file men and women who work at the FBI and show up every day doing their jobs. I think that our relationship with law enforcement has taken a beating over the last however many years. Saying defund the police, three of the dumber words coming out of the Democratic Party. It makes people nervous to see that our military, our border patrol, our FBI, our certainly our local law enforcement feel under-resourced and under-respected in doing their jobs. And that is a big part of the Trump mandate and the Trump coalition. I want to say something else about the media. I keep open as a window on my laptop Jeff Bezos' Washington Post op-ed. I think that beyond, we're not going to endorse in the presidential race, and people had a hissy fit and quit and cancel their subscriptions because they have this expectation that the media are emotional about Donald Trump. Major that everybody will be Jim Rutenberg, one of your colleagues at the New York Times, who in August of 2016 wrote a piece basically saying, Maggie, listen, I'm supposed to be objective and fair and unbiased, but the prospect that we can even have Donald Trump as president means I have to stop this. I feel this time.
I'm sorry, Jim, you're saying Jim Rutenberg wrote a piece saying that?
Yes, in August of 2016. In other words, like
That doesn't sound like Jim Rutenberg. I know, and I can't say. I'd have to go back and look at what you're saying. But Jim Rutenberg's an excellent colleague and an excellent reporter.
He is. I'm not criticizing him. I'm saying that this time, I think a lot of people in the media took that mantle and they said to themselves, I have to stop Trump. It's my moral obligation to stop this person and call him names and so forth. Even as, Jonathan knows, I think you've written 3 books with Trump in the title. Like there's this love-hate relationship. There's this symbiosis of a relationship. But I think what Jeff Bezos says is important for all of us to digest, where he says, look, we in the media, he was talking about the Washington Post. He said, we in the media have a low approval rating. We don't have this vaunted position we once did. We need to win back the trust. I think many of our institutions do, including the FBI. And if anybody who is covering Kash Patel or any other nominee and did not do it with the same enthusiasm and accuracy when Alejandro Mayorkas told Congress under oath in 2021, 3.5 years ago, the border is closed, The border is secure. And since then, 10 million people have come here, government statistic. And since then, people open up their phones, turn on the TV, and they see people here in New York City getting debit cards, cash, cell phones, clothing, hotel rooms, your kid's seat in a New York City classroom. And they say that's not fair. And they don't think of themselves as xenophobes and racists. They just say, this isn't fair. When did this happen? And so I feel that every president has grace and latitude to put the nominees up that they want to serve them well. I think President Trump is choosing people he think will do an excellent job in those individual posts. And one more thing, Maggie, he's chosen people who he knows are communicators. He wants his democratization of information back for America. Here's a man who, whether you liked it or not, by 6:02 every morning, you knew what he thought about for the day because he had tweeted it. People miss that transparency from their commander-in-chief from a White House that telling us behind the scenes Joe Biden's actually a triathlete trapeze artist. We just can't see it. They want somebody to have democratization of information so that in this country, in this world, whether you're the stay-at-home mom, the plumber on the job looking at his phone, or a billionaire CEO.
You like those tweets a lot more than I do. I'll tell you that.
Everybody,
I just wonder,
you know what? Good. At least we know what he's thinking.
Margaret,
and he's choosing people in the cabinet who are going to do the same.
Kellyanne, you mentioned some important policy points, but there was a question that Maggie said about prosecuting the media to the Park Esper and all the people that he played.
This is a question of
Are you suggesting that people have committed crimes?
Kash Patel has said that he will prosecute Bill Barr, Mark Esper, Mark Milley, John Bolton, Cassidy Hutchinson, Pat Cipollone, Alyssa Farah Griffin. Is that appropriate?
I think what's going to happen is he'll be asked about all of that in his confirmation hearings, and we should welcome those questions. He's a big boy. He can answer those questions. I assume he'll have pre-confirmation hearing meetings where he could be asked those questions as well. I'm very happy to see.
Kellyanne, you think that's a bad idea, though?
I'm being honest.
I'm being honest with my stuff, and you guys aren't. You think that's a bad idea?
No, I don't think it's a great idea to prosecute people without just cause. I don't know all the facts. I do know some of the people you're mentioning were very difficult for me to deal in the White House as senior counsel of the president because
but not criminals.
No, because they weren't very effective. They were obsequious. They always had their pom-poms out. And it was hard to give them any position of responsibility. He loses, and all of a sudden, they found anti-Trump religion, and they write their books, and they go on TV, and they do what they do. But I think everybody here is getting a little nervous because maybe there's some regret, maybe not here, writ large, there's some regret of the way Donald Trump's been covered. And by the way, had people who are obsessed with Donald Trump spent an iota, a scintilla of that time, not focused on Trump, focused on the Trump voter, the growing Trump coalition, Trump country that we have now, where these you look at the map, it looks red almost everywhere. Had you spent time focused on the Trump vote instead of looking down on them and telling who they should be and whom they should vote for and how they should worship their God and raise their kid and what they should eat.
I'm sorry, are we not going to just take a moment to be chilled by what Kellyanne just said? Can we take a moment?
People without just cause?
Is that what you just said? Because what I saw you say, actually,
just always off on some tangent.
We don't know
insulting
each
Kevin
other.
McCarthy.
Sarah should be able to
let Sarah talk. Sarah, go ahead.
Insulting people by name.
Everyone is insulting everybody
You guys
by
have
name.
been insulting each other since you guys sat down next to each other. So don't say Sarah's doing it. That's just not fair.
Margaret, stop.
Yeah, and also, I don't know that it's an insult to say that Kevin McCarthy said that the election was stolen, that was a lie to the American people, that they now believe.
Can we keep this focused on Trump?
That's I don't know. You just talked. You brought up Orr and everybody else.
Sarah, if you want to respond to what Kellyanne said, please.
So the reason that I do focus groups all the time is because after Trump was elected the first time, I wanted to understand why. Because I was a Republican, right? I'd been a Republican my entire life, and I wanted to know why voters liked this person that I thought was repellent and who was saying things like go grab women by their genitalia, was doing all of this crazy stuff, who's now an adjudicated rapist. There's a lot of things. And I just, there's a couple things that were in some of the answers that I think are really important going forward. So one is, it's not just that people are being pushed out of the Democratic Party. There's actually a political realignment going on. Mm-hmm. And so the Democratic Party is now populated by a lot more of these college-educated voters, and there aren't enough of them. The Republican Party has built a multiracial, multi-ethnic working class coalition for a variety of reasons, much of which is part of like negative polarization, right? A rejection of something else as opposed to an affirmative. Like, I don't think that Americans wanted tariffs. I don't think that Americans want a lot of the things that Trump wants, but they are rejecting. And just like in 2020, right? When you say never Trump, always wrong or whatever your thing is, right? We beat Donald Trump in 2020 because people thought he mismanaged COVID. They were tired of him. They were sick of him being in their face all the time, and they wanted the stability. But then what they got still was a bunch of things that they also didn't want, mainly higher prices and an open border. But I actually also want to go back to something Jason said, because I think it's important for Democrats to understand that the entire world has changed. And Van was saying this too. I had written down authenticity and had squared it, and then you brought it up. And I think it's deeply important. When I listened to voters in the focus groups, when I knew DeSantis was cooked against Trump, when they said he seems like a regular politician. And the thing about Kamala Harris is technically she could be quite good, actually. I think surprisingly good compared to where Republicans had set the bar. But she did not feel authentic. She felt like a regular politician. Joe Biden feels like a regular politician. Voters don't want that anymore. And people are going to have to adjust to that terrain. When you give a good speech or even a good debate, and you win on points, that's not enough anymore. You've got to be able to walk in to all kinds of places, hostile places, and sit down and have a conversation. And if you can't do that, you can't win.
Can I?
I agree more.
I ain't want to put you to sleep.
No. I mean, it's
my
I mean,
kind of show. I know it gets slow for some folks.
no. I mean, it was. I mean, it's pretty much. It's definitely informative.
But the Democrats need. But now, first of all, now you see where they are, right? Remember I told you about how the left is actually everything that everybody wants to be a part of. They're at the New York Times. Donald Trump was the man of the year on what magazine?
Time magazine, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So when you keep telling me what you're telling me, you understand that the Republican environment, they're not the mainstream. You understand? That's why you're on the New York Times. That's why you're on the Times magazine. It's the reason why he wants to be a part of that environment. And matter of fact, a lot of folks matter of fact, I'm gonna give you a better example. Joe Rogan, in the Joe Rogan universe, right? He makes a point to try to make all his comedians not go to Hollywood. But they all want to go to Hollywood. And they want to be on SNL. So they talk about it negative. Oh, I can't stand them, and they this and they that, and they're into all this other stuff. But they want to be there because they know that is the reality. You're in the other world. And that world, no matter how it may appear to be accepted, it's just not the same. I can't make it make sense. We don't want to be in the underground world. We don't want to be in the black world. We want to cross over. You understand? And we've been doing that for 50, 60, 70 years at this point. Same thing in the white world too. Does it the same thing? But anyway, I'm gonna do the Mondale one. We can shut it up if you want to. Did you want me to play the one that he did with on Ben Dixon show? Or?
Yeah, because that's more
organic. Did you have another one?
Yeah, more organic. I think in that, to me, that just because it's real time and that it appears to be real time. It could have been something that they talked about before going on. You know how that.
Well, they seem to be surprised by it, but I don't know. They're good actors, I guess.
Yeah.
Seems
but I'm saying just in case, we don't know. But it appears to be. Yeah, it appears to be very, very organic because, like I said, I think he caught himself, and then by the time he caught himself, he just like, you know what, fuck it, I might as well just go ahead and go with it. He like hashtag them and everything. So I think that's a very unique thing. I think it's when you get caught up in figuring out, okay, this solution that I thought, or maybe I thought being part of the help, this is what it looks like when you're caught in between really trying to do progressive politics and you're caught into the big old hurricane of the money of it all, the politicizing. You may be partly involved with people that you thought may have been aligned with you, and you see that they ain't really, we're not really on the same time. So I thought it was very interesting from that point of view.
In his current capacity, I will. Oh, what? Also, right now, I will do no more work. I don't know why. Something just said I will do no more work with TYT though. In his current capacity, I will. Oh wow, bro! No more content. I will be on no more shows. It's over for me. Like something just told me I have to say that, and I need to put it on Twitter. I need to text Jink and Anna. Y'all can't call me for no more shows. I'm done with it. Yeah, in real life.
Are you serious?
Bro, I'm serious.
Damn, that's 100.
I tell people, past couple years, I've been taking paychecks from TYT. At this moment, I feel disgusted by that, dog. I don't like where TYT is right now. TYT is starting to act like, now listen, I'm telling people right now, I have not severed my relationship with TYT. I'm being a buck. So what I'm saying right now might just end that relationship.
Whoa.
No, I'm sorry, I gotta say.
It's the anniversary night, nigga. We're not doing a relationship ending tonight. No.
I'm with my family and I'm talking to our extended family.
This portable warm air blaster will be in every home in America by 2026. It can heat a 9.
I don't really know what's going on over there, dog. Like I don't know if they had some kind of meeting or was it the Christmas party or what, where they decided that, yo, we need to do what the Joe Scarborough did that cost them so many viewers, to say that we're gonna cover Trump, Anna and Jink showing up in the way they showing up. Yo, it ain't worth for me. I'm never gonna be quiet. So if they say, okay, you can't be on our shows no more, then I don't give a damn, because I'm not gonna be quiet about the way that they're showing up right now. You took too
How
much.
are they showing up, Mondale?
Like MAGA, like an extension of damn Trump. Like, bro,
you need to
this idea that these people ain't white supremacists, like normalizing Trump supporters as if they ain't racist, dog. I am not okay with this. I'm not gonna be good with Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski or Jink or Anna or anybody pretending that these people aren't threatening our lives. I'm a black person first. They can keep that money for them videos. I'll go back to kissing my wife and not having to create videos in the afternoon. I don't care. It's not what I'm not comfortable. We should all be mad. That was the last beacon other than Democracy Now! And Free Speech TV.
That's right.
Talking about progressive media. Y'all took too much money from the ethos. Y'all took too much money with too many billions of views to be doing what y'all doing right now. So I don't know who offered you a check or which check you're trying to get. I'm disgusted by it as a contributor and a person who helped grow Rebel HQ, another money source for y'all, to over 1 million followers, dog. I average 30 million views a year on Rebel HQ myself. None of those views join my personal YouTube channel or nothing. So the pennies that they give me is not enough to make me sell my soul. I don't know what's going on. And if y'all are cool with it, I need to question y'all bona fides. And I'm not talking about YouTube personally. I'm talking about everybody who say they part of the Squirrel Gang, the Dragon Squad. I need to know what's going on. We should be asking these questions, dog. And we shouldn't be asking these questions with questions. We should be asking these questions with the lack of subscriptions.
That's right.
That's right. In that manner. I don't give you enough to pay nobody's bill, but I subscribe at $100 a month. That's a big level from one person when you got over 1 billion views. I cannot spend that $100 a month to TYT. As long as they're acting as if Donald Trump followers aren't the same people who are trying to kill me and my wife. And that is not hyperbole. I live in segregated world because I'm still getting death threats. The FBI had to get involved to get me my email back because I was hacked by these people. In real life, in this cycle, I've never thought I would say thank you to an FBI agent. The FBI agent called me and was like, you're in danger. Your wife can't travel by herself. So these people, and out of love and respect for my wife, I'm obligated to do it today. I'm asking real questions. Jink, Anna, and also TYT, what are we doing?
You know what I mean? So my thing is, for our viewers who have not watched that, could we get some exacts? And maybe we can put that and compile that into what exactly, because I like TYT. I'm over here I hate to be like this, but I'm over here
So You know what's interesting about Mondale going through all that. Now I'm looking back at it. I think that I would imagine that him and Ben, I guess, maybe talked about it. It looked like because I think Ben used to work for TYT too, right? Before he separated from him. Yeah, some other kind of issues going
I
on.
think so. I can't remember. Yeah. That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. Yeah, we're talking
Yeah,
about I think Trump's first
it was a long time ago. They had some contractual
first
issues.
election. Yeah. I don't think it was philosophy issues, but I think that when you get somebody that's more of and I put him in the vein of somebody like a not like Dr. Carr, but I mean if you were talking about politicians try to be more progressive, more black leaning as far as his politics are concerned, it's going to run up against that wall. It doesn't fit in places like Pondering Politics. These are left leaning sites, by the way. The Bulwark. What's the other ones? There's so many of them. Pod Save America. All of these so-called millions and millions of people that watches these platforms and that they're funded by these donors and stuff like that, getting crazy bread. And if you notice,
on the way, though.
yeah, what you
Real money's
notice is
coming.
that they have separated themselves from so-called the black political left. Like the black political left don't really have a home in the Democratic Party, not at all. And I think that they have used him as proxy. Mondale, Jackie Reed. I think Reed is still there, right? Dr. Ritchie. Because I know Dr. Ritchie got to be now. I can't see because he's in the same vein as Mondale is. The way that they are, you know what I mean? The way they do their politics. I don't know how that would still jive. I know they probably pay him probably good money, stuff like that.
But you don't make emotional knee jerk reactions.
No.
You sit on it for a minute.
That's what I'm saying. So that's why I say that he
advantage of it. Actually,
he probably got caught into the mix a little bit and got kind of caught out there because your audience, part of your audience is tethered to that platform. And even though Rebel HQ falls under TYT, people don't really look at them as the same as TYT, if that makes sense. It falls under the umbrella, but Rebel HQ is kind of like its own entity to a degree. That's working under TYT. You're not on the main channel. You guys are not. If you didn't say that you didn't work for Anna and Jank, people probably wouldn't even know that they was that associated or that closely knitted together. You had to really follow that because Rebel HQ, I thought, for a long time that it worked separately until I saw how connected they were with the different content creators and the producers and stuff like that, which I think they probably share in the studios and stuff. But I know Dr. Ritchie falls on the TYT. He's under the main channel. So that's probably a little bit different standpoint that he stands at. So, and what's the other guy named John? Is it John? The other guy that's still kind of like riding progressive. I think his name is John. Anyway, I think that their group in particular, he probably just needed to do that for his own mental freedom for himself. So he just didn't feel comfortable being there no more. And that is
well, if he noticed what we've noticed for years, then it could just be
right. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
This didn't seem like. I think he's always looked at them like suspicious. You can just tell, like
I hope so.
Yeah, it seemed like he never really dug into it. And then once they went to this kind of level where they was doing all these programs, kind of like capitulating a little bit, and it was done, outwardly, and the Twitter spaces, and then doing that kind of deal, and that they bent the knee to Trump basically, and all the stuff that they used to talk about him. And all that kind of craziness and how they bent. I think what's the name? Anna went and talked to what's the
She went on
religious
like
zealot?
Bean show, Glenn Beck show. She was all over
Glenn
the place,
Beck.
all
Glenn
over the
Beck.
conservative.
Yeah, Glenn Beck in particular. Yeah,
She's trying to get the mark. She's trying to get them numbers, man.
Yeah. So I think that's probably like was a bridge too far for him, because he's just like, nah, I can't. My politics just doesn't jive with that. So
He don't want to play that. He don't want to play that game. Yeah.
right. So
I
he's
get
just like,
it.
I'm
I
out.
understand.
So I respect the brother for standing on his square and just being like, yo, I'm out. I'm gonna do what I do, regardless of whoever disagrees. So I thought it was very
He's
interesting.
not trying to make anything. Yeah, he can make his own choices. I just thought it was just the way he comes off. He seems to be as I don't know if he's surprised by it, but I don't know. He seems a little bit surprised by it, honestly. I told you when Meek and them went there, that people that shook the internet up.
I know.
He had to come out about a week later, I think like a couple of days ago, actually, talks for like 15 minutes about it, because they still getting heat from it, because it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Even if it's propaganda, you can't be this obvious. I think that's probably more the reaction. It's just too obvious, though. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Especially when the man ain't even in charge yet. So you don't even know what you're not even going off of anything. So what was that about? What else is going on that we don't know about?
Well, I think he was just talking about how much they was basically railing against the man, and then how it shifted.
It was off the charts, bro.
Yeah, how it shifted all of a sudden.
Yeah, you can't call a man Hitler and then go visit Hitler, bro. It don't work like that, man.
Right.
Not that fast. You see what I'm saying? Now, Trump came into office in January and, was a little bit differently, a little bit more different type of vibe. And then it's like, oh, okay, well, he seems to be a certain type of way, so that's why we felt comfortable going to see him. You went off of nothing. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So that is insane. It's insane, bro. You cannot call someone a fascist and literally call the man Hitler, bro, or Hitler, whatever they was calling him, and then go and bend the knee, bro. It just doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, anyway, but like I told you, that's that elite stuff that goes on. That's not even. That doesn't, like you said, right? You can tell who they serve, and it's not their audience.
Right.
At the end of the day, so the common folk can be mad, and he's talking. It was so funny. And him being from Florida is kind of disappointing, actually. But the way he's talking, I'm like, damn, you don't really sold all the way out, because you're talking down to your audience based off of the decision you made to be a part of the elite class, and you offended.
Well, I think
kind of innocent.
I think in his mindset, he thought that he could still deliver the message. I think he's still an actor. I'm saying, but he's still an acting mayor too, right? He's still a mayor. He's still in office, right? He is still in office.
Yeah,
of a small town in North Carolina. Yeah. So he's still part of the system. I thought he's probably thinking that it gives him an ability to kind of reach a larger mass base, a larger fan base. And I mean, I would imagine.
And if it's TYT's new business model, then he wasn't gonna be able to sit her anyway. So he maybe pulled it off. Because remember Trump, because Trump's not going nowhere unless they do something to him. So I mean, it's going to be minimum 4 years, if not 2, of them wanting to tap into an audience.
Right.
Whenever I turn on TYT, I see some shit that I like, and I'm like, oh yeah, well, because I don't watch them every day, all day. I don't watch.
No, that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about TYT. I mean, there are great progressive ideologies on TYT. Right.
Generally speaking, yes.
But you cannot disconnect TYT from Jink and Anna's behavior since this election happened.
That's right.
So this is specific talking points that
these ain't talking points, but they doing videos, creating content, talking about, well, I met one person who changed my heart. He's a Trump voter, and it wasn't like, I don't care about that, dog. We know what's going on. There have been real thought leaders, people who are professors at college, who White Rural Rage was written this election cycle. And those brothers who wrote that, 2 white professors from the University of Maryland and other spaces, and yeah, so let's just leave it there, who articulated what it means to be a Trump supporter. I'm not okay with it, dog. And I think this idea that saying or calling white supremacy is equated to calling yourself closed-minded is wrong. We don't want TYT to be closed-minded. Where's the energy you had before the election outcome? Why now is it not okay to call fascism fascism? Why now is it not okay to call these people who won't even question or saying that J6ers are heroes and hostages? Why is
Mondale,
it okay?
Anna, like Anna's doing this though? Like
Anna's father going.
Anna, yeah, Anna's leading the way in it. Hang on, I'll pull up a.
Wow, bro, really? I didn't hear enough of what she said. What did she say? Like,
there you go.
Like just being on Glenn Beck is different. If you're going on Glenn Beck and cussing his ass out,
Talking about individuals.
And I'm not trying to make up for nobody. I'm just
listen, Marcus, listen.
All right.
Here we go.
In reality, we're talking about individuals whose politics is mostly based on, you know, some fringe issue or some cultural issue that they have. It's not just that they care about that issue, it's that they've taken that issue and they've made it part of their identity, the core of who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost like what you would expect from religious zealots, you know? And so there's a fundamentalism involved in the way that they treat these issues, and there's no room to negotiate. There's no room.
Paul, yeah, I was about to ask you, how is that?
By the way, Glenn Beck is a religious zealot.
Exactly. How is that any different than the man you're talking to right now, or any of MAGA? That doesn't make any sense.
It makes perfect sense to me and you, though.
But I always saw her like this though. This right here is what I always seen her.
I can smell it on her breath, bro.
Yeah, I always seen this.
Come on, bro.
Even when she was talking,
I'm around this kind of people, bro. I know. Yes, it's not.
I seen it. I saw her.
Years
ago.
She was. Years.
A long time ago. Yeah, this don't got anything to do with the election, by the way. Saw both her and Chink the same way as they representing now. There's nothing new to us at all.
I was just wait for everybody to catch up.
Just check the record.
She's talking about the left.
We've been on
the thought.
We've been new about these two in particular, especially those two, for sure.
Well, that's fun. It's some fundamentals. That's why we know, basically.
Yeah.
Like I said, we ain't really cracking the code per se. I mean, it is the code, right? So it's like, you know, if you just know the code, then you know the.
Right.
You can see it right from pretty much right away. I mean, kind of they really in the funny kind of way. They're kind of not really hiding it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, exactly.
You just got to have some fundamental principles, and you'll be able to see it, basically.
Concerns of individuals. And so as they become more and more kind of like authoritarian in what they demand, they are pushing people away. And there are some issues in which the rights of one group might actually end up conflicting with the rights of another group, depending on what type of legislation you're pursuing. And so, of course, this has come up with the trans issue. And I've always been supportive of the transgender community, but when the rights of transgender people, particularly transgender women, start to cause some tension with the rights and freedoms of women or the perceived safety of women, well, let's have a conversation and avoid assuming the worst of the people who want to have a conversation.
White women are in danger. Bro, listen, let me tell you something. This woman, that statement in itself is so dangerous. And that ain't even it. Like if you just pull up some of the stuff she put on her Instagram, all of that, it's crazy enough, bro. I am disgusted with this willing to play games and the fact that they're saying that we are zealots, we are religious zealots on the left. Come on, bro.
To Glenn Beck. To Glenn Beck, right? The king of religious zealotry in conservative media, right? Here, but it's not that they're going on these platforms, it's that they're going on these platforms and they're trying to make nice with people who are literally trying to destroy not only democracy, because some people don't care about democracy. I do. But they are also actively trying to destroy the lives of 20 million of the migrant working class, right? Let's not talk about all the everyone they're going to, what they're doing with Obamacare, what they're doing with Social Security, what they're doing with Medicare, what they're doing with Medicaid. That's just the surface of it. The 50% of federal employees they're getting ready to boot out. You know how many black people that's going to hurt, right? So they're going to platforms making nice with people who have the most nefarious intentions for us at the moment. And thank you for saying it the way you did, Mundell. at the precise moment when we need progressive media on lock. We need progressive media hitting on all cylinders. And we got them instead over there trying to make nice with Glenn Beck and Tim Pool and all the rest of them. For what? For why? For clicks?
You're not a child, you're a man. So stop wearing so many layers to go outside and get the bearskin.
Hold on. I gotta go further. We need to clip this, what I'm about to say.
Okay, but
hold on. I want you to land it. I want you to land your plane. But right now, my soul is saying I gotta do this.
All right, go ahead.
As an anniversary gift to me and my wife, if you are watching this show right now and you subscribe to TYT, unsubscribe, and you need to get a paid subscription to Ben Dixon right now. If you love us, if you're serious about progressive policies and you won't just do it, you will screenshot me saying this and tag Jink in it and Anna in it and TYT in it and Rebel HQ and share it, because progressives cannot become Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party and the establishment, because when we do that, we become unsalty. And Ben Dixon can tell you what it means when the salt of the world loses its salt.
When the salt loses its savor. Listen, I wasn't going to directly say send your subscriptions to me, but I also ain't going to miss the blessing that Mundell set up. But I will say this: wherever you send your subscriptions, I can tell you the majority report ain't moved an inch from their values. That's good ground. You can sow a majority.
That's a very fair point.
The Vanguard, them two cool white boys over at the Vanguard, they haven't moved from their values, right?
Ben Dixon.
I am at the expense of my own well-being. I have never moved from my values, man. I've walked away from many opportunities. Ask Sean King. I walked away before I would betray my values. We need left-leaning media now more than ever. And if TYT is not going to be that, then you need to end your subscriptions and send it to folks who are going to hold the line, who's going to look at these fascists in their face and say, if you're going to take anybody, take me first. That's the only attitude to have right now.
Hold on. There's only one thing I have to say, man. I'm not even trying to go against anything that's going on. We need to talk about the attitude of how we got here. And I'm asking that question for a reason. How did we get to a point where with siding with people who want to, like,
Marcus, you went to Florida A&M, one of the, if not the smartest. I don't care what people say. And I went to 2 HBCUs and none of them were FAMU. One of the smartest historical black colleges. You know why Harriet Tubman had a gun. It won't just be white folks. It was for them Negroes that was supposed to be running with us that were willing to go back because their feet were hurting.
Oh yeah, Master got chicken cooking tomorrow.
Look, because think about it. If you really, thank you for setting it up just like that. Think about it. Like, her one gun wasn't going to do a whole lot against all the white guns that would have came up against her. But you know what it did? It solved the problem of them Negroes who was a problem trying to get free. There's always going to be a subset of us, whether it's in the black community, we got them in the black community. The same folks who sold us out on the west coast of Africa in the first place, same folks who sold out Harriet Tubman in the first place, all these people in our history, they in present today.
Hold on, Ben, I'm busy right now. Hold on, Ben, I'm busy right now. Do you, Ben, I'm asking you questions directly. Do you have a paid subscription like TYT? A website where people can go, because it's timeout. I'm saying I'm calling timeout, and people should know I have no financial gain from Ben Dixon. I get no money from Ben Dixon. I do get money from TYT. Do you have a website where people can go for get subscriptions? And we need more from you. We need more content. We need you putting up more progressive voices. It is timeout for people that are willing to sell us out. We got to tell them, not on our watch. Amy Goodwin can't do it by herself. Democracy now is not enough. It's not enough. Subscribe.
Patreon.
I'm over it.
Patreon.com/the BPD show. There we are on my Patreon page. I put us up last week. Patreon.com/the BPD show. And I mean, listen, high key, you're gonna get some high quality stuff.
I can't lie to y'all, man. I'm so like I have saw your post, Mondale, about like the TYT folks, man, Sink and Anna, but I haven't watched it. And I'm gonna do my research because, like, to be honest with you, it just fundamentally doesn't make any sense for anybody to be an ally of us. I'm not a group think, but first off, guys, anybody watching clickbaity political thirst trap, I am not a group thinker. I think on my own as a grown ass man, right? And I am fundamentally surprised that these two who have championed a lot of issues, even of race, that would like kind of dismiss a whole movement. I'm not even gonna lie, but if it really happened, that shit is problematic. So go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, because here's what it is, though. It's the fact that there's a couple things. If you watch the main show, you're still going to get some decent progressive politics, right? You're going to get enough progressive politics for you to not really be completely aware of what's going on. If you listen to Anna and Cenk on social media, on Twitter, on their Instagrams, if you listen to their little videos, if you listen to the interviews that they're doing in other places, you see them actively making nice with the very people who are going to be destroying this country in a very short order. And they're doing it. And they're doing it. Go ahead.
Being what you said, I'm announcing right now, I will do no more work. I don't know why. Something just said, I will do no more work with TYT, though. In its current capacity, I will.
Oh, wow, bro.
No more content. I will be on no more shows. It's over for me. Like something just told me I have to say that, and I need to put it on Twitter. I need to text Cenk and Anna. Y'all can't call me for no more shows. I'm done with it. Yeah, in real life.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
Damn, that's 100.
I love Dr. Richie. Somebody said, "What about Dr. Richie?" That's the only reason I have. That's the only reason I have tears in my eyes because I love Dr. Richie.
Shout out to Dr. Richie.
I love Dr. Richie more than I love the ground that I feel that I need to stand on in this point. Dr. Richie is a super strong will and will be for successful in everything. He got 1 million jobs for a reason. But this right now is me saying I can voice TYT in his current iteration. And if it means I'm never going to be in relationship with those people again, I accept that. But it's over at this point.
Damn.
Yeah.
All right. So let me lighten the mood real quick. The
Go ahead,
state of
pause it.
Oklahoma decided that they want to make sure that a lawmaker.
So I think that's pretty much it. So I think that was the part that everybody was like, he really did, because the other was kind of like numerous. So he really made it like official, like, hey, look, I'm not working with them. This over. That's it. If you thought it was kind of like still up in the air, no, this is official. I'm out. So I wonder. I know they probably had a discussion about probably his final residuals that he would receive from them.
Contract, I'm sure.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm pretty sure they spoke in the background and they worked it out, because I haven't heard them say anything about Mondale at all. I don't think they said anything about him. So
no, he might not say too much about it.
Yeah, but I haven't heard, Anna
how much noise. I think it depends on how much noise it's. I don't think there's gonna be a lot of noise about it. Maybe.
Well, it's just in our spaces more so than it is in anything else. So of course that's not enough for them to even. They don't care. That's another thing.
Mondale, I don't think if he's trending, they'll respond to it. But I don't think.
Right. That's what I mean. Like it didn't reach outside of the.
Well, if it starts trending, they'll respond to it. But like I said, anyway, I'm not going to help progressive, so I'm going to keep my mouth shut on anything.
You are a congressive. You are a conservative, progressive, bro. You're a congressive. You call it a congressive.
I'm in reality.
Reality can be bent, obviously. But there are certain things that you're gonna run up against, and that's what it is, man. People use it for their advantage and things of that nature. So
But my
that's
thing,
the
my thing is that
crazy part.
for Anna and them anyway, just be that way all the time. Then it's no problem. Then
Exactly.
everybody know where you are. But when you're
Everybody
talking
know
to a
who you are.
progressive or even a socialist for that matter, I mean, you have some hard
Oh
things that you
man,
believe in, and there is no, there really is not much wiggle room there.
no,
You have some very serious beliefs that
no.
go against everything on the right, and even a lot of things
It
on the moderate left. So I mean,
it really
for you
should
to
have stopped.
swing around on the back end,
Yeah, it should have really stopped at the trans issue, but it went further than that. And then, she even went into the crime thing, and they're eating the cats and the dogs. I don't know how she believed in. I mean, she kicked that story. I'm like, whoa! Like I had no idea that she was kicking dust on that too. So it is what it is, man. Yeah, she went
I mean,
there.
if you look at the way Trump run, and I'm gonna tell you something. They have used up all of the credit for race. They've used all of it up to the point where Trump literally ran in the last probably 3 weeks, you think, maybe 4 weeks, a massively racist campaign. I mean, as racist as you can probably get away with in this country.
In the modern era, yeah.
It was impressive. And I'm thinking to myself, so y'all have used up all of the race credit.
All the race cards. All the race
work.
cards gone. All of them. Ain't no more cards to pull. Exactly.
Because I was like, hold up. What you said about the hate, I mean, I was like, it was on full tilt. And the system just had to take it, bruh.
Yeah, just regurgitated it too. And
They had
filtered
to
it.
take it and bend the knee to it.
Yeah.
They could not figure out how to respond to it because you've already used it all up.
Yeah. DEI is affirmative action in
Use
reverse.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
Because 10, 15 years ago, it was impossible, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that shit just don't hit. It's not hitting the same like it was.
I
think since they noticed that's why some folks are flipping. By the way, just that's a part of that.
This is like Darth Vader and them finding the Hoth system and just destroying the HQ rebellion base on the planet where everybody has to
it's for Anna and them to make the move, like I told you, even with Joe and them, for people to start making the move so early. I'm like, do y'all know what they just said 3 weeks ago about people?
That's funny.
And I was like, so y'all was never really about this anyway. Obviously, it's all been about,
And like I said, I think they're more comfortable in the space that they're in. Cause she said it like I'm good with it. I don't care. Like, I don't care about any of this stuff.
I watched Jank on PBD. Sit there. I watched him on PBD. They're letting her just kind of talk because she done stole it out all the way. Jank, you could tell, is still like trying to figure out a way to merge the two together, and it's like, nah, bro.
Right.
And so he on PBD, and PBD just letting him sort of go, but like he has to bend it in a way where we can find common ground here. And I know y'all aren't for Medicare for all, but we can figure out something here with the cutting the military budget and I'm looking at him like, bro, what is happening? What do you think you? Who do you think you are? It's that ego, bro. I'm telling you, bro. It's that ego, bro.
Yeah, what do you want?
Because you know what they're thinking. This is what they're thinking. Bernie Sanders got MAGA votes, right?
Yeah.
And I think what's that girl? The ALC had a bunch of voters who voted for her, who voted for Trump.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know.
And I think they're trying to find that. But the way Cenk is doing, I'm like, that's not how you do it.
That's not national. And that's not a national phenomenon, by the way, too. That's district by district.
Do it anyway.
That doesn't work, bro. That's not the same thing.
No, you come up with something. You come up with messaging. And you can go on
and you let the people decide.
Right wing shows, but you don't start to bend the knee to them. Not in this environment where everything is kind of split down the middle. Because just as fast as you do that, just as fast as in 2 years, the Democrats have the House and the Senate. Yeah. And in 4 years they have the White House, and maybe they run it for president. And then now what you doing? Now what? Yeah, just like that overnight. It's not like Reagan or Nixon who won the whole match.
That's what I'm saying. So you misappropriating.
It's 50-50.
You're misappropriating the candidate for a movement when it's really the other way around. Is there a movement without the candidate? Right. That's what you need to figure out.
That too.
because
that part too.
this is unique.
Because they're going to be disillusioned potentially unless Donald Trump Jr. runs.
When he leaves the space, it's going to be a void. It's going to be a void. It's going to be a free fall. You know that. We seen it. You know, it's absolutely. Bush barely made it that one term. After that, it was a wrap. You know,
to assume J.D. Vance or Nikki Haley or Donald Trump Jr. can deliver the same. I'm not saying they can, because I don't know where America's going to be in 4 years. But a lot of things have to go right in the next 36-ish months.
And they don't have the unique,
to even be viable as a Republican.
They don't even have the unique messaging power or the apparatus to deliver the message in a kind of weird, uninformed way, the way that Trump does. He has the Teflon Don. He has this kind of unique way of not having things stick to him. Like people will say he's lying right in real time, and he just talks right through it. He's the best at that. Like he just talks right through it.
He's a master salesman. Yeah.
He just talks. It doesn't even bother him. He's just like, oh, you know. Are you gonna be able to get groceries? Oh no, well the groceries ain't gonna be. I mean, it's just. But you ran on that, yeah. But that's just, you know. So what?
And remember, and you know what's so funny? You know what's so funny? You know what really helps him too is that he's very imperfect.
Yeah.
So he isn't the richest man. He isn't like I would call him a master salesman in a sense, but at the same time he's a failure.
He's a failure.
And those two things together, I think, is something about that connects him to regular folks versus Bloomberg. Or Elon, or Bezos, or whoever you want to pick, right? Because
they won at life. They won at life.
Right. Trump is making mistakes. He's failing. He lost money. He struggled. He's dealing with it. You know, it's very, very human. No matter how rich he is or how powerful, he's very human. They, because they tell him he's not a billionaire. He don't have no money, and then you're going after him. It just made it perfect lineup. You know, and I mean, I would almost argue that, and I was going to argue this a year ago. By the way, I said, why are the Democrats trying to get Trump elected? Is it something more conspiratorial going on? Like they want him to be president for some reason, which I thought that in 2020 as well, even though he lost. So I'm like, is he good for business? Is he a good distraction from the empire? Is that what's really? Is it more of that going on than I can? You know what I'm saying? The conspiracy side of me. It's like, man, I think they trying to kill him though. So maybe not.
And if you think that the whiny left was going to go away, they're going to be empowered by this. They're going to suck all this. They're going to eat off all this.
When Trump starts cutting taxes and not delivering for the common person.
Exactly.
If you get the right candidate at the local, state, and federal level, they will lose those seats. Because remember something, I think now because he's caught the car in this particular election, I think it's going to be way more scrutinized. It's going to be a lot more because remember everybody's sold out, right? Yeah. Joe Rogan, everybody's been sold out. So now it's very loud. It's very loud right now.
So guess what? Guess what they're taking the mantle of too. Guess what they got to take the responsibility of being the driving voice of America. So now you cannot. So you're right about that. So they have taken over.
You have all pieces of government.
Everybody knows.
Four.
So, okay, you guys.
Got all four.
Right. You got
right. So now you can try to blame. Which they will do that. That's what you're supposed to do. They will try to blame Democrats. I just don't know. So the question will be: will the American people, that 2 to 5 million ish people, whatever the numbers are, right? 3 million. It's not that many of them, but that 3 to 5 ish million, or whatever that number is, will they be convinced that it's not the Democrats' fault? You're in charge of everything. A good Democratic presidential nominee or senator or whoever, they have made a great case to make me believe that it's not their fault and it's your fault if things go wrong, by the way.
Yep.
I think at that point you will start to see things sort of start to crack.
And the fact that
if everything runs great, which America never runs perfectly.
And the fact that Don is not running. So now this means this is JD show.
It's gonna be weird, bro.
We're gonna have to see JD and how he aligns with that that kind of MAGA right where, how does he talk to those people? Does he try to act nice with those people, or do he give them kind of like that nice nasty that Donald gives
Bruh,
him?
I watched him debate Tim Walz. He's not Donald Trump, bro. I'm sorry. He's a typical politician, bro.
Well, no, there are a lot of people say he's the best thing since sliced bread. He got it in him, and he got the eye of the tiger. He has the eye of the tiger.
A lot of people who run for president have all that stuff. My point is that we talk about Donald Trump and the MAGA crew.
Right.
He's just a regular politician.
But
he's not going to really. I mean, you just watch all his interviews. I mean, I watched all of them. So I mean, it's not. It's not really heavy.
I think he needs to formulate a plan on how he's going to deliver his message, and we'll see. We'll see how, because
if Trump is alive,
we'll see.
If Trump is alive and Trump is functional,
he'll help push.
It's gonna be up to Trump.
To
transition his audience
right
to the next person.
Right.
It's on him to do that, and whatever he wants in that time, at that moment in time.
What if he become disillusioned with JD Vance and he try to get too much light and be like, nah, I want Junior to run. Or
I would say this: if Trump stays Trump, he's gonna have a very short. A short temper with pretty much everybody that we're talking about right now. Everybody we're talking about right now would easily be irrelevant by June of next. It's 100 days from now, whatever that is.
Right.
So we have no idea who's going to stay, who's going to go. We don't know who's going to actually get put in by Congress, by the Senate. We won't know. But I would say that by the summertime, everybody we're talking about now won't be there. I know that.
Oh, absolutely.
And I would say 18 months from now, like you said, JD might be on the outs. I don't know.
The outs.
Don't know.
That's why I say he has to craft.
If he looks at JD as one of his sons, then JD would be fine, and JD would be safe, and everybody else would be, dealing with it. But you never know, because like you said, it's going to be the pressures. It's going to be the pressures of our country. And we run the whole planet. It's going to be the pressures of what happens around the world. All that's at play. So we don't know where it's going to come from. The war in Israel is not over with, bro.
Oh, no.
The war in Ukraine is not over with, bro.
Oh, yeah, absolutely not.
There's terrorists out here. There's economies. I mean, there's a lot of things can happen in 48 months, whatever.
During this first term, so Trump should be able to get everything kind of cooled down. He should cool down the jets. Everybody gonna be cool because Donald got it.
He already said he can't get prices down. He's already moving back already.
I just
said, I don't know about that. I said maybe. He literally said, I don't know, maybe. Gas is under $3, right? I just paid $2.74 for gas. I was like, where did that come from?
I know. I went down. Oh man, ooh,
that's in my area. I need to go to a cheap spot.
You need to hit the back road, Marlboro Pike, Pike, 7-Eleven over there, man. 270 something, and you got like you got like a little special bonus card with them. Boy, you can feel it. Thank God.
Remember when gas got so cheap that the grocery store stopped giving you the they turned off the whole, you get the 10 cents off or whatever. I said, yeah, gas is getting cheap now.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, man. Absolutely, bro.
Well, you look at price. When prices go down, well, things get more affordable. Now, as far as we know, the way America operates, and you definitely don't want deflation, and you obviously don't want too much inflation. Inflation is already low. Then prices are going to probably be around what they are roughly. So, how do you sell that, or do you pivot out of that and just stop talking about prices and create new issues?
Stop talking about it and go to the immigration issue. I think they're gonna run on immigration. I think
immigration might be the death knell. Immigration could be the death knell too, though. Guess what?
How they run
when you start arresting people and you're building concentration camps in Texas, the Democratic Party can have a field day with that. If you do everything by the book, you follow every letter of the law, you do everything properly.
That's different.
Then that's different. Democrats and Republicans, it don't work like that.
Right. Doesn't work like that. Does not.
I only need one story.
They're gonna find
one story to connect.
they're gonna find Mary Bell somewhere hanging out on the fence. They took my daughter. They took Papa. They took Papa. Papacita, papacita, go.
Yeah, they're gonna be looking for it. Anything that connect, they're looking for that for the next 24 months. They're gonna connect to where they can start to drive. They can basically funnel all their issues through that, whatever that is.
I wouldn't be surprised if I'm just saying that this is just my opinion. I wouldn't be surprised if they get like an investigation going some kind of way on the back end, just trying to clean it up by making the Democrats look bad by actually investigating and seeing that probably most of those people that's on the board are the agents, which probably everybody knows were on the take, allowing people to come out. They had a whole system in place, you know.
It's all going to come down. It's all going to come down to messaging. So when they do what they do, if you can keep selling it, then you can take 22. You can pick up more season 26, and you can pick up more, and you can win the presidency in 28. It just depends on how you're going to message it, depending on what happens. That's all. I mean, and we have to watch it play out. You just don't know.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what connects until it happens, right? It's like, oh, wow, people are really it's resonating with people, or it's not resonating.
Yeah.
And I think prices not going down might not be a deal breaker, but I'm going to see will Americans hold on that and see are they really about that or not. I don't believe it, personally speaking.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know that prices aren't coming down. but
crazy.
But yeah, I was just talking to some older people who was like, yeah, you know, prices don't come down. Oh, in their 80s or whatever. I was like, prices don't come down. What are you talking about? I know. I'm half your age. I know. I already know that. So I know you really know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
you know how long they've been looking at price, right? Absolutely. Yeah. But the Sony water used to be 99 cents.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, prices, and if you follow prices in the marketplace, I mean,
you like $3 or $4
now. Yeah. That's how it all works. And the thing is, because everybody's getting rich from it, if you're on the right, you can't go back anyway. Forget the left. You can't start to cut into prices because it's going to affect the market. It's going to affect business. You're pro-business. So, you know, you're kind of trapped anyway. Like you said, if you're a true populist, if you're truly about the people, then business have to feel you. And he ain't that person. I will believe it. I only can believe it when it happens, right? But a man who respects business, who look up to business people, who want to be those people, I just don't believe that he's going to really demonize any. I don't believe it. I have to see it.
I don't.
They won't do it. They won't even do it on the left. So I mean, on the right, really, the left don't even do it like that. I mean, you got to go way left to get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
they got to go to the places. Yeah, they got to stay in the places where they wouldn't be, where they don't want to go. And it's obvious. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see.
Right.
Let's get up on out of here, man. I gotta roll anyway. I gotta run, do some family stuff. So.
All right. Well, this is Paradox.
And this is D. Until next time. Peace.